Hey, hi friends, this is Mukesh Ratwani from learn-automation.com. In this lecture, I will show you how you can download Postman and how you can install Postman in your local system. Okay, so first of all, let me start with an incognito window. Let me start with Google and I will search for Postman. So you can see the first site postman.com. Just click on this. And just a small information, guys. So earlier we also had Postman as a Chrome plugin, which they have deprecated now. So I would also recommend you to directly start Postman as an app, okay, not as a Chrome extension. So if you can see, it's a collaboration platform for API development, and you can see this option called download the app. So depends on your operating system, okay, it will automatically detect which version or which operating system you're using. For me, it automatically detected that I'm using Windows, but in case if you're working with Mac and Linux, you can click on the respective links and you can continue. So before downloading this part, I just want to highlight two other sections. One is release note, which will give you clear information about the latest development which they have done in the recent time. Okay, so you can see what changes they have done in the latest version and you will get the complete history. So the one which we are going to use right now is 7.21.2, okay, which is this one, and what kind of roadmap they have, what kind of features you can expect in future. You will get everything from their roadmap. So whenever you have time, please go with this. It will give you a high level of picture what Postman is planning for future. So let's quickly start. I'm using Windows 64-bit right now, so I will click on Windows 64. It will download a small exe file, so I will wait for the download, and once it is done I will resume the recording. So this downloading is done. I have copy pasted from my download directory to a new folder called Postman, and let me quickly install this Postman. So it will take few minutes or second, depends on the machine, okay, and it will ask you to register. So let's wait for the registration window. So it will start, it will take few minutes, it will do some basics checks, and within a few minutes you will see a welcome window or registration window. Okay, so guys, once it is up and running, you will get this kind of window. So it will ask you to create account, and if you don't want to create account, you can see here you can directly sign in through your email as well. So right now I have created a fresh account, a fresh email account. So I will create a fresh account and I will show you how does it work. So let me enter the email. So the email which I have created, one for this is newmanyoutube@learn-automation.com, or maybe I can copy directly from here. Okay, username I will keep Mukesh Postman. Password I will give some password which I can remember easily. Okay, and I will click on I agree to terms of use, keep me signed in, create an account. Okay, it says username already exists, that's fine. So let me give, again, let me save this username because I have multiple username right now. So let me create an account. Okay, it will send one confirmation link so that I will be verifying. It says please enter your name, so I will give my name is Mukesh Ratwani. What kind of role is closest to yours? I will keep as a quality engineer. How do you plan to use Postman? I will say API documentation, debugging, monitoring, automation testing, designing, mocking API, and finally publishing the API. Select everything. In case if you want to put some profile picture, feel free to do that. Let me continue. And now this option is completely optional, but I would recommend you to give some name. So right now I'm going to set up a team name. So this team name I will say Learn Automation YouTube team. Okay, and safe aside I will also keep this in my document. Click on continue, and that's what you need to do. You just need to put some basic things and you're good to go. Now it is also asking you if you have a team, if you want to invite other people from your team, you can do that. Right now I'm not going to invite. So either you can enter their email address, or you can copy this link and you can share with your team members. The moment they will click on this link, they will be joined automatically to your team. We will be discussing this topic once we move forward. For the timing, I will click on maybe later, because later on anyways we have to do this team collaboration part. So guys, this is the latest UI which you will get. Okay, and let me also see if we get any emails. Yes, so this is the email you will get from the Postman once you create your account. So just go ahead and validate your account. Okay, so I will click on validating, so that in future we should not get any kind of issue from the Postman. And once it is done, it will say thank you, and now you are good to go. Click on head to your profile and it will redirect you to your account. So again, I will enter the email and the password. The password, which one? The one which I have created just now. And let's see, now you can see it is okay. Let me click on save, and yes, we are done. Perfect. Okay, so once you log into your dashboard, okay, just click on this Postman icon and you can see this is your dashboard. We'll talk about this dashboard, okay, in detail. By default, you can see one workspace got created for you, and you can also see some couple of other details. Okay, these are the templates APIs. We'll discuss about this one by one. So this is how you can download and install. So in the last lecture, we have downloaded and installed the Postman in our local system. In case, I installed in Windows. So once you open this Postman, you will get this welcome window, or I will say launchpad. I will quickly walk you through what exactly this will like, how this navigation will help, different kind of navigations they have, and from where you have to start. So first of all, guys, if you're completely new, they will also give you a couple of tutorials which you can directly start and you can complete this part. Okay, and anyways, don't worry about this part, because I will be showing you all these things one by one through real-time examples. This is again some quick guide if you want to directly start creating requests, collection, environment, APIs, everything you will get directly from this launchpad. And if you don't want to access from launchpad, you can directly continue from here. Okay, but this is just a quick navigations they have given. So you can also see we can go with the documentation. You can create mock servers, mock APIs, and finally you can also create monitors. Again, we will be having dedicated videos for each and everything, so don't worry. For the time being, just see what kind of UI they have, what kind of navigations they have provided, so that it will be very easy for us once we start working on it. And in case if you want to customize the dark mode, you can go with the dark mode. I personally prefer the light mode, okay, or the white mode, but if in case if you like the dark mode, it's up to you. Enable launchpad. If you don't want this launchpad each and every time, you can disable this. By default, it is enabled. Second, you can see you can join a team workspace. Right now there's no team workspace we have created, so right now it's blank, it says no workspace to join. Once we move forward, we'll create a team and we'll see a couple of members, how we can join a team and how we can collaborate. Now this is very interesting, guys. You can see if you want some templates and some public APIs which you want to use for your testing purposes, they have given a lot of APIs, and the one which is happening or which is trending right now is COVID-19 APIs. So if you click on this COVID-19 APIs, you will get two APIs which will give you general data or global statistics, which you can hit and you will get the data. Apart from that, you can also get the statistics based on the countries and the different parameters which you can pass. Okay, so these are a couple of APIs which they have provided in case if you want, and you can also see these APIs, and you can also click on browse more and you will get different categories of APIs which you can use. So it's up to you. In case if you want to explore this part, it's up to you and completely optional. For this complete tutorials, I will be taking a couple of APIs which will help you to cover most of the things from the Postman side. So this is all about the launchpad. I am going to close this launchpad as of now, and you can see now we have the two this is called the builder section, guys. Okay, and you can see here I have one personal, which is nothing but the workspace, and another option is team. So we'll talk about this builder part and this collaboration with the teams. You can also invite the team members for the collaboration. Now on the left hand side you can see the history. Right now we have not made any API calls, it's blank. The moment you start making some APIs call, you will see the history here. Collections is nothing but you will be creating a small group of the similar, or the I will say they will share the common nature. Okay, so you will group them into a collection. That collection will be easy to access, and we can run everything as a part of collection. We have a dedicated lecture on collection as well, so we'll talk about this in detail. So collection is kind of a folder in simple words, okay, but it allows more features, like you can share the collection, you can pass the variables, you can share the collection, execute them, so many things we'll see one by one. And right now there's no APIs, since we have not created any APIs, it's totally blank, but you can click on create an API and you can continue. Okay, so this was about the left hand side. Again, this basic filters part. Okay, so depends on your keyword, it will do the filtration. Now in case if you have any existing collection, okay, let's say somebody has created that collection you want to import, you can import the collection. You can also import the open API files and other things. This is the runner part. When you have a set of collections and you want to run the collections, you can use the Postman runner to run the collections. And these are just some quick navigations if you want to open a new tab, new runner window, Postman window. And if you click on this new part, this is what we have seen in the launchpad. Do you want to create a new request, new collection, new environment, documentation, mock server, monitor, and APIs? So instead of going through launchpad, if you directly want to start this from a new button, these are the options available. Very important, environment. Okay, so right now there's no environment has set. So what is environment, how to set the environments, we will discuss one by one. For the time being, let's focus on the navigation. This is the quick look of the environment, and this is your settings part where you can manage the different environment and the variables. Okay, so that's all about the quick look and feel and quick navigation about the Postman. Now in the next videos we'll see one by one how to work with individual requests, collection, APIs, mock servers, documentation. And before we end the session, I just want to show you this find section. Okay, so in case if you want to find anything related to the response and request, collections, environment, you can find directly from here. And you can also see a small Postman console where you will see all the logs. Right now everything is blank because we have not started anything, and these are a couple of other settings. So if you see this part, this is single pan, two pan, and these are just a keyboard shortcuts. We will be using them whenever it's required. I hope you are familiar now. In case if you have any question related to this UI, feel free to ask in the comment section. So guys, in the previous lectures we have installed the Postman. We have seen the quick UI and the starter guide how Postman works. Okay, now let me create the first API call. Okay, and then we'll see the different parameters how Postman works. So right now I have taken just a very basic example which everybody can relate. If you are able to understand these examples, then we'll take some APIs and I will show you how it works. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to make a new request. So just click on this small arrow option and click on new request. So this request name I will just write as search Google. Okay, and if you scroll down, I'm going to create a collection. Now what is collection? In simple words, it's kind of folder in simple words which will group your multiple requests into a single place. But it is more than a folder. We will be talking about collection detail, but for the for the timing, just collection is a combination of multiple requests of similar type of multiple types. So I will say let's say Google APIs. Click on this checkbox or the icon and click on save to Google APIs. So you can see the moment you click on collection. This was the collection that we created. The moment you click on this, this was the request that we created. Now I will keep, actually you can see this guys, right? 2-pan view. So right now if I click on 2-pan view, you will get this kind of view where you see the first half or the first part will be related to request and the second part will be related to response. But if you click on this panel, you will get left hand side as a request, right hand side as a response. So I will go with the first one, which is convenient for me. Now you can see you can trigger multiple kind of requests, but for this example I am taking only the get request, and you just need to provide the API endpoint. So let's say if I want to hit this API, this is actually URL, but internally this is also making an API call, right? So just enter google.com and click on send button. You can see it is sending the request and it is giving you the response now. So if you see guys, this response, first of all the status code is 200 OK. It means the request that we have made, the response is coming 200 OK, means everything is fine. Time, it is taking 661 millisecond. Total size is 14.81 KB. And if you want to save the response, we can save. And if you see the cookies, these are the cookies coming from Google, and these are the headers which is coming, okay, which includes the date, expires, content type, server, cookies and other details. For the time being, just navigate through these sections. How to use them we will see once we move forward. So this is the response which is coming from the server side, which includes status, time, size, headers and the cookies, okay, along with the body. Now if you see the body guys, it's coming in a different format. It's actually HTML file, right? So if you click on preview, you can see it's coming in a HTML format. Our main intention is not to test the web applications. Our main intention is to test the APIs, but just to create our first get request, I have shown you this example so that you can relate. Okay, so this was on the response side. Now if you see from the request side, we have not sent any parameters. Authorization is blank. Now if you click on headers part, you can see it is actually sending 7 hidden headers. The moment you click on hidden, these are the hidden headers which is sent from the client. So it is actually sending the cookies, Postman token, host, user agent, encoding and the connection part. Again, you don't need to understand each and every header. Once you move forward, I will show you which headers are important for you and what are the basic headers you need to send along with your request. Apart from that, we don't have anything else. Since it's a get call, we have not sent anything as part of body. No pre-request script, no test and no additional settings. Fine. So as you can see right now, we are able to make a basic call. We are able to get the response. It means everything is fine. Now we can continue with our other test scenarios. Correct. Now before we end this video, I also want to highlight one important part called params, which is nothing but parameters. And you can see it's a query parameter. So what is query parameter guys? The moment you type anything, let's say I want to type learn automation. Okay. So this is nothing but I'm sending a small query. So if you just notice here, it is sending actually a query parameter which is Q, and it is also sending the keyword along with it. So if you want to make the same thing here, I can just make a Q. Q is nothing but query, and value, let's say I want to search for Mukesh Otwani. Can you see it is automatically appending to the URL? It means whatever query I will be sending along with parameters, okay, it will be appended to the URL. So apart from this, if you want to send any other query parameter, let's say I want to search for name, and this name, let's say I want to search for automation, and you just click on this checkbox. So you can see this is getting appended along with the URL. So it doesn't matter how many key value pairs you have, whatever key value pair you will add, it will get appended to your URL and it will be sending as a request. So right now you can see I'm able to see this one by one, but let's say you have 10 parameters, okay, 10 query parameters that you want to send. So it will be little tough for you to add one by one each and everything. So also they have given one option to bulk edit. You just need to give in the new line key and value. Okay, so let's say I want to give my address as, let's say, Bangalore. Then next thing which I want to add is like my skills. I'm just giving some random key value pair, guys. Let's say Selenium. As you can see, it is getting appended to my URL, and that will be sending as a request. So this bulk edit feature you can use, and if you just go back to the old editor, it will be adding as a query parameters. So as of now, these just are dummy key value pairs, so I will remove them. Only I will be sending this one, which is actual query parameter. Now let me click on send request again, and you can see when I click on preview, it is showing Mukesh Otwani. So it means this API is working. So guys, this is just a normal web call I have made. Actual API call we'll see in the next video. This was just a quick video just to show you how exactly this request works. In the next video we'll take some REST APIs and we will see how to validate them. Guys, in the previous lecture we have seen how to make a first GET request, and we have seen how we can get the response and how we can see the responses and validate, right? Now we also have to see how it works with other different kind of requests. Let's say if I want to deal with post, put, delete, patch, then how does it work? So till now we have seen only the GET request, right? And now if you see, we have multiple kind of requests, but trust me guys, we don't need everything. The first 5 is the main one, okay? So which includes GET, post, put, patch and delete. These are the 5 requests that we are going to use 99%, and remaining we will be using depends on the requirement. So we will be focusing on the first 5: GET, post, put, patch and delete. So before we jump into the post, let's also see a couple of online REST APIs which you can use. Again, all these APIs which you will find, they will not persist your data. So you can instantly make few changes, but these changes will not be permanent. So you can go ahead with the REST, go rest.co.in, and here you can see they have a couple of APIs which you can use. And you can also use this stoplight.io. You can also use this dummy.restapi.example.com, where they have multiple APIs, and they also have GET, post, put and delete. And the one which I'm going to use, this one I personally use it for the demo purposes because it includes everything: GET, post, put, patch and delete. Again, whatever changes we will be making, these will not be permanent. This is just for the demo purpose. But once you start working with the real-time applications, these changes will be stored in your server, okay? So if you make a post call and if you're creating some resources, these resources will be permanent to the resource or the server which you're using. Okay, so before we jump into the post, let me quickly check how does it work with GET. So I will be using this REST request rest.in. So short is reqres.in. So this will be the base URL, okay? And now you can see the endpoint. So the endpoint for this particular user, let's say first we'll call all users. So this will be the endpoint. So when I click on send request, you can see we are sending one more key as a parameter, that maximum 2 pages. So page is just one of the key value we are sending. So it is actually giving us the second page, not the first 2 page, only the second page information it is giving. So let's change it to 1 and let's see how it behaves. If I say I want the first page, so you can see it got updated here. Let me click on send and we got the first page data. Perfect. And the rest everything is same that we discussed earlier, that status, time, size and everything. Now let's talk about the post. So when we talk about post, we also have to send the payload, right? So this is the endpoint that we have to make, and before we create a second post call, let me save this. The moment I save this, it will ask me what is the request name. I will say get user, because this API is just giving me number of users, right? And now it is asking me which collection you want to use. I will create a separate collection for this. So I will click on create collection, and the collection name I will give as user APIs. Fine. Click on this icon and save to user APIs. If you see here, this API is here. Now let me create another request. I can click on this plus icon, or I can click on this new request, and this request name I will say post call, or I will say create user. Again, I will be adding this into the same collection, which is user API. And if you want to create subfolders, you can do that. I'm not creating as of now. Let me put in the base folder. So now you can see it is create user, but this is not a get call. This is going to be post call. So I will save this. The moment you save, you can see it got updated here. Second thing, again, I need to make this as a base URL, and this will be our endpoint. So I will just copy this endpoint, which is API user. Fine. The moment you say post call, definitely you have to send some payload. That payload that we have to send here is, let's click on create. This is the payload. So this payload is actually a JSON payload, guys. Okay. The moment you click on body, you can see which kind of body you want to send. So as you can see, we have different kind of body that we can send. So as of now, it is set to none. So if you want to send the JSON payload, you can click on as of now raw, and you can simply paste the payload or provide the payload that you have. Okay, and right now you can see it is taking as a text. You can change this as a JSON because it's a JSON data. The moment you click on JSON, you can see one option called beautify. So in case it is not properly formatted, it will format. Now I can give any name. Let's say I want to provide name as a Mukesh, and job I will give as an automation engineer. Okay. Now you can click on send, and you will see I will get the response. So name is same, job is automation, ID it is 976, and you can see it created at this time interval 201. So 201 will mainly come when you create a new resource, okay, on the server. So whenever you make a post call, it will always create a new resource, and the response should be 201. Okay, time to 66 millisecond, size is 527 byte, and you can see how easy it is to make a post call through Postman. It is just you need to provide the body. Right now this API does not include any authorization, so I'm not sending any authorization, not even additional headers, because these headers are set by Postman. But once we get some post request, okay, where we have to send some kind of additional header authorization parameters, we can do that through these options. As of now, only body was mandatory that we have passed, and now we can see our API is working fine. Okay, so the moment you can see this small icon, right, small I guess it's orange color icon. The moment I save this, that icon will go. It means now this request is saved. So this is just one collection where we have two APIs. Okay, so once we move forward, I will show you these options one by one. Once we have at least 4 or 5 requests in this collection, then we'll talk about how to deal with collections, mock, go share this collection, run this collection. So I will again close everything, and in the next video we'll talk about a different request like patch, put, delete. Guys, this is going to be a very quick video, because in this video I will show you how you can make a delete request. So in the last videos we have seen how to make a get request, and we have seen how to just send a get request and how to capture the responses. Then we discussed about the post request, where we created a user and we have also sent a small body, right? Now we're just going to make another request. This request will be delete request. So again, I will be selecting this particular collection, and I will click on new request, and this request I will give as delete user, and I will be selecting a user API. Click on save to user API. Now if you go back here, so if you can see, this is the delete request that we have to make. So the final endpoint will be API user 2. So second user we are going to delete, and the expected response is 204. Okay. So again, I will be going back to Postman, and I will be just selecting from here to delete. Base URL will be this, and the final endpoint will be this. Okay. So you can see we have one additional / that I will remove from here, and that's all we need to do. So just click on send, and you will see if you are getting 204, it means that particular resource has been deleted. Okay. So again, if you make multiple requests, because this particular API that we're using, that will not persist the data, so you can make multiple calls. It will not actually delete from the server, but it is giving you what kind of response you can get. Very quick video, just select from get post to delete, and you can delete any resources. Okay, so right now we don't have any additional parameter. In case if you have to pass any additional parameters for deleting that resource, you can pass directly from the query parameters, and you can also add in the body section. So as of now we don't have any body that we need to send along with the delete request. But guys, the next example that I will be taking, there we need to also send the body along with the request. Okay, that is the reason I have selected this topic, that I will show you the two scenarios, how to send a delete request without body and how to send a delete request with body. Today in this video we are mainly going to talk about collection in detail. So again, collection is a very vast topic, so I will be making different videos on collection topic. So today in this video mainly I will talk about what exactly is collection, why do we need it, and how we can create collection and how we can execute the collection. Okay, so in simple words, what exactly is collection? Collection is nothing but a group of requests, okay, that is grouped into a folder. So in simple words, if I take one very basic example, let's say you have multiple files of different kind. Okay, let's say a text file, you have MP3 files, you have MP4 files. So if you want to group them into a similar type, you will create a folders, right? You will create a text file folder, songs folder, movies folder, videos folder, and you will group them accordingly. Same thing goes with Postman and collection. So we'll be creating a different group, and each group will be having a different type of request. So we can create a collection, we can share the collection with the other team members, and we can execute collection. Okay, so let's say if a collection having multiple requests, you can directly execute as part of collection. You can assign the roles, you can also create the documentation, you can create the mock servers, monitors, etc. Since it's a very big topic and collection is the most important part in Postman, I will be making different videos on collection. In this video, we'll focus on the basic features of collection. So let me go back to the Postman, and I will show you how you can create a collection. Okay, so this is the previously we created different videos how to make a get request, post request, and delete request, right? So if I want to run them, I can go ahead and I can run them one by one, right? So I can execute this request individually, and I can make, or I can call this request individually, and similarly I can also call this request individually, right? But what if I want to run them in a single go? Let's say I want to run all together into a single call. How can I run them? This can be done with the help of collection. Okay, so how do you create a collection? So if you see right now we have this new option. The moment you click on new, you can see one option called collection. So it says you can save your request into a collection for reuse and sharing. And if you don't want to create from here, you can also see one option here called create collection or new collection. So when you click on this, you will get this window. So you can go with any of the approach. It's totally up to you. So let me show you one by one. So let me start with this approach. I will create one collection, and this collection name I will give my collection. Okay, and you can see at the collection level you can set the description, you can set the authorization. Okay, and for the authorization again we have different types. So once we move forward, we'll talk about the different authorizations we have. You can also give a pre-request script. You can also write the test at the collection level, and definitely you can also deal with the variables part, right? Since these are the different topics altogether, so we'll be focusing on this different tabs into different video. So for the time being, I will give a small description to this collection, that this collection will run all smoke APIs. I'm just giving a random description, and I will click on create. So you can see the moment I create a collection, this particular option is coming. where I can run this particular collection. Okay, I can share this collection, and I can also do other options as well, right? I can create monitors, I can create mock servers, and I can also see the change log. Right now it's completely blank because we have not done anything on this collection. So as you can see, right now its collection is empty, so we can add request. So if you have any existing request, then you can drag and drop. For the time being, let's say if I create one first request, I can click on my collection, and you can see this particular request has been added to my collection. Okay, and in case if I want to make any other request, I can go ahead and create one more request, and I will say this is second request. I can add to my collection. This I will, let's say, keep at post, and similarly I can go ahead and create again a new request, and let's say this is third request. Okay, I can set the description. Right now I'm not setting any description, and I can directly save it, and this I will make it as delete. Okay, the moment I save this, okay, sorry, let me put this as a post. Let me save this. You can see post has been updated. Third request I will make as a delete request, and Control S. So right now I can see I have 3 requests, right? So this is how I can add multiple requests to my collection. And if you have gone through my previous videos, we have created these, right? So instead of using this fake or dummy request, I can go ahead and I can use them. So what I will do, I will simply delete the one which we created so that I can show you the real-time examples. So I will delete the dummy one which we created, okay, and the one previously which we have created, I can simply drag and drop. Okay, so let's say I want this one to be part of this collection. I can drop it here. This is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3. Perfect. So this collection I can delete, I don't need, so I can go ahead and delete this. Yes, you can see I have deleted. So this is the collection that we created. Now we have the actual API. So this is actually calling API which will simply get me the user details. This is going to create a user, this is going to delete a user. Perfect. Now let me show you the different features of collection. First of all, you can make this as a favorite so that it will be always on top, so you can quickly navigate to your favorite or the mostly used collections. Second thing, if you see, we can share this collection, we can assign the different roles, we can rename, we can edit this, and you can see we can also play with the Git and GitHub. So you can see we can create a fork request, pull request, and merge changes. And these things are the additional things, like we can create a duplicate of this collection, we can export this, we can monitor the collection, mock servers, publish documentation, etc. Don't worry, we will be discussing about each and everything in the separate videos. As of now, let me run this as a collection. So you can see one option called run option here. The moment you click here, this window will open and you can see different options there, right? Let me simply run this. So you can see you will get a separate window, this window known as collection runner. So if you have worked with any kind of automation tool earlier, right, then we have test suite where you can run all these test script into a single test suite and you can run. So it is kind of same thing here in Postman. It's a collection runner which will run all your requests. Right now right now I have already one environment, but when you do first time, for you it will be no environment. We will be talking about environment in the next video. As you can see, we have 3 requests. Iteration means how many times you want to run them. As of now, I will keep only the default values right now, okay, and I will say run my collection. The moment I run my collection, so you can see it is running all these requests that we have created, right? So it is giving me 200, 201 and 204, and this is time taken, and this is the length, right, or I will say the size. So with the help of single click, it is able to run my all 3 requests. Right now it is very small collection, we have only 3 requests, but consider you have multiple requests, let's say 50, 100 and 200 requests, and if you want to run them, collection can save you a lot of time. You can run them with different environments, right, and you can do with multiple iteration, data, and so many other things. So you can see again we have a retry option. It simply says when I click on retry, it will rerun my complete collection and it will execute everything again. Okay, you can export the result. Right now it will export the result into a JSON file. So let me show you. Let me export this result. Let me keep on desktop. Okay, and you can say saved test run to disk. Let me go back and open this. The moment I open this, you can see we have the collection details. So collection ID, collection name, timestamp, okay, different environment IDs, total number of pass and fail, and the complete result, right? So we will be talking about this again, but right now if you come back here, you will notice one small thing, okay, which is not an ideal case. As you can see, we have executed 3 requests, but still it is showing 0 pass and 0 failed. And the reason is we have not added any test in our any of the requests, right? We simply executed them. So let me close this as of now, and let me go back to my collection. As you can see, all the tests that we have written, or all the requests which we have created so far, it has 0 test. This request also having the 0 test, and finally this one as well. So it is just a multiple request, but we have not added any test. So how to create a test case in Postman, that is also our next topic, right? That is the reason we are getting 0 pass and 0 fail. But once you start adding the test, it will show the number of count which got added. Now apart from this, if you want to again create further groups, right, you can also create a folders here. So you can see we have an option called add folder. Let's again folder, I want to create 3 folders, smoke, and I will create, let's say, one more called regression. Okay, and again I can drag and drop them. So I want the first test has to be smoke scenario, and the rest 2 scenarios I want to keep under regression. So you can see now we have one collection. Inside collection we have different folders. Now if you again go ahead and try to run them, let's run them. Okay, this will take few seconds, and yes, we have now again different categories, right? And this is how it is. Now one important thing, let's say if you want to change the order, you can change them. Okay, let's say you want to execute delete first, you can rearrange them based on your requirement, because by default test runner, or I will say the collection runner, will run them in a same order which is coming here. Okay, so right now I don't want to disturb the order, otherwise I can change it and I can play with the order part. So right now it's get, post and delete. And if you want to create dependency, let's say first delete should run, then post, and then get. So how we can create the dependencies, we will see. Okay, so that's all about collection creation, adding folders, arranging them, and run them. In the next videos we'll talk about more in collection runner, and it's very interesting and very useful, guys. Okay, because once you move forward, you also have to run this collection runner from the command prompt, or I will say from the Jenkins. So this is going to be very helpful. Today in this lecture I will show you how you can import the collection and how you can export the collection. Import and export is the very basic feature that you need in each and every test automation tool. Okay, so let's say I have a big collection. So let's say I have created 500, or let's say, let's keep it number less, let's say 50 scenarios, or the 50 requests that I have automated. Now I want to share this collection with you, so that you can also import this collection and you can run it, right? So I can export this collection from my end, and you can import it, or I can do the vice versa, right? So import export is the very basic feature that is needed for each and every automation tool. Same thing we are going to do with the Postman as well. So in the Postman, in the previous lectures, we have created a collection already, right? So now let's say I want to export this collection. So I can right click here, and you can see we have an option called export. Okay, sharing is different, guys, export is different. So we'll talk about the difference between share and the export. So when I export this collection, it will ask me to export. So right now we are using version 2.1, which is recommended. So what it will do, it will export the complete collection as a JSON file. Okay, you can see here. So let's do one thing, let's quickly export this, and now it will ask you where do you want to export it. So in the desktop I have one folder called Postman data, so I'm just going to export in that particular directory. So click on save. I already have existing, so I will quickly replace with that, and you can see my collection exported successfully. Now let me delete it. So right now I don't have multiple systems. So let's assume this is a different system, and now somebody has already given me a collection. Now I just want to import that collection so that I can directly start working, or I can directly start executing, right? So in that case, I will click on this import option, and you can see we have different options to import a collection. Again, so right now we are focusing only on the first option, which is import a file. So either you can drag and drop, or you can click on choose file, and it will ask you from where you want to export the collection. So right now I'm going to use the same collection that we exported just now, and you can see it got imported, and the same collection I got in my workspace. Again, I can click on favorite, so it will be always here, right? Yeah, so you can export the collection, import the collection. Now what about the running part? See guys, running, again you can click on run and it will start test runner, and you can continue. So let me also show you one interesting feature called view in web. The moment you click on view and web, it will automatically start a Chrome session if it is not already open. If it is not logged into your account, it will ask you to log in. So since I'm already logged in my Postman dashboard, so it is directly jumping into my collection, and you can see the similar structure it is able to find here. It has created 2 folders. In each folder I have my request. Let's say I want to see the first request. So right now it is a get request, and this is the request name. Right now no description set, and only we are focusing only the first page. So based on the parameters, it will identify. Right now we have only one parameter, so it is taking param as 1. And you can see similarly, this is our post request, okay, and here this is the body that we are sending. Same goes with the delete user. So you can view the complete collection on the dashboard. Okay, so if you have not created any account, I would recommend you to create account and link with the Postman. So the moment you click on web, it will redirect here. So the good thing about the Postman dashboard here, you can also see the monitors that we have. Okay, right now we don't have, but once we create monitors, everything will be coming here, and you will also see the change log. Okay, what is going on with your Postman workspace, everything will be listed down here. Okay, the moment I click on load more, if I have any other further activity, it will list down here. Okay, so that is just one part of web, but we can do many things from the Postman dashboard. So once you move forward, you will get to know more information about the Postman dashboard. Okay, that's a very quick feature about import and export. So once you get your Postman collection exported, you can directly run from the command prompt, so if I show you that collection runner, okay, so you will see one option here called run in command line. Can you see this? So in order to run this collection from command prompt of, I will say, command line, you just need to install a new package called newman. With the help of this newman, you can directly execute your test from the command prompt as well. Okay, so this is the official link. In case you want to explore right now, go ahead and explore. Anyways, I will be covering this in the next video. Now another very interesting fact which I want to share about the Postman is, okay, so in order to showcase this, what I will do, let me delete or close this collection runner, click on file, click on new Postman window. Okay, just want to show you a very interesting part here. Yes, so it opened a new window, and you can see we have a couple of templates given here, right? So what if I want to take this particular template, or I will say this collection? So you can see we have COVID-19 APIs given over here. So the moment I click here, so this is one complete collection. Okay, so this collection they have already published. So the moment you click on this run in Postman, this collection will be added in your Postman. Okay, so you can also see the documentation, other things as well. For the timing, I will click on run in Postman, and you will see this collection COVID-19 tracker has been imported, and this is the tracker. So this particular collection have 2 APIs. One is general and one is country based. So let's say if I again click on this favorite, and you can see this is the API which is calling, and it will give you the complete statistics of this COVID-19. So let me just hit the send button, and let's see what exactly it is giving. And you can see we have a huge list, right? So total number of cases, recovery cases, death cases, last update, currently infected, and so many other things. and we have the success. That means this API is working fine right now. Let me also run another API. Here I am just looking for country based. Okay, so we need to just pass one parameter. If you're looking for a specific country, you can give this as a parameter and it will simply search for that. So again, if I simply click on send, okay, just a second, it is still giving you the complete details. So let me take one country. Okay, so right now it is taking all the countries. Okay, so let me search for a specific country. So in that case, what I will do, first of all, I will go ahead and see. I can see for Russia we have for Spain, we have for Italy. So let me search for USA. Okay, like I just need all the information about the USA. So as of now, I can see we have country USA, total cases, and you can see we have country abbreviation as well. So you can use either the full name or the abbreviation. So if you come down here, these are the already key value pairs which they have given. So if you want to use any specific key, you can do that. So for the time being, let's say I want to use this key, and here I can give USA. Okay, and let me click on send button. So you can see now it is not giving all the countries information. Now it is only giving the total number of rows, which is right now only 1. So it is giving me details only about the USA right now. So total number of cases is 14,32,086. Total new cases, death, new death, and all the details. Okay, so this is how you can import collection if it is not in a JSON file format, if it is into some button format. So I will also show you how you can generate a button that I will show you now. It's just 2 click, and you can also create this kind of collection where people can directly go ahead and import it. Okay, but that's very interesting feature. So if I want to show you how you can export your collection as well, so that it should come as a button, in that case click on this option, or if you don't want, you can directly go ahead and click on share collection. Okay, you can see one option called get public link, but here you can see this button, right? So you can also share this collection as a button. So in that case, you just click on generate code. You will get this code, and this code you can embed in your blog or in your website. So your collection will come in this format. Okay, run in Postman. Okay, so if time permits, maybe I will show you this part. I will add this button in my blog so that you can directly give a try. But mostly we deal with public link or the JSON file. Okay, but there are multiple ways. It's up to you how do you want to use this collection. Okay, so guys, in this video we are mainly going to talk about how we can add the test in our request in Postman. Okay, so till now we discussed about how to create requests, how to create collection, how to execute them, but till now we have not seen how to add the test. So what exactly is test in Postman? So when you work with different automation tool, right, so we have to add test, or we need to put some kind of assertion so that we can validate our functionality is working as expected or not. So same thing goes in Postman as well. So mainly we are going to add this test, which is nothing but a small JavaScript code that will validate whether our API is working as expected or not. Okay, so one request can have multiple validations. So it is not only one validation we can have. One request can have multiple validations, like you can put like response code, the data, the time, and it can be a number of things to one request. Okay, so by default in Postman we need to write all the test, or I will say the small snippet in JavaScript. Okay, so by default Postman already have given frequently used snippet, but if you want to write your own JavaScript as well, you can add that. And very good part about Postman, it's not only the request level you can add the test, you can also add the test at the collection level and the folder level as well. So we'll see one by one. So at this example, or in this video, we will be adding the test at the request level. Okay, in order to showcase that, I will go back to Postman and I will show you this collection. So this is the collection that we have, right? So right now if you see, all the requests have this test, and right now it's blank. So if you come down here and see, but before we move to this, there's also one more section called pre-request script. Okay, so this is totally different. Okay, this is the test that will be executed after your request, but before your request, if you want to make certain calls, or if you want to do any activity you can do under pre-request script. We'll focus more about this in the next video. Right now we are focusing only on the test section. So these are the frequently used snippet they have already provided, so you can use that. So let me show you a few snippet, and once we move forward we will also deal about the environment variable, global variables, and so on. So if we come down here, the basic test that we need to add in each and every API is the status code, right? That is the first validation that we need to keep, that whether our APIs is working fine or not, right? So if you see here, we have a status code is 200. They have already given a snippet. The moment you click on code snippet, this will come down, and now you can simply make a send request. The moment you click on send, you can see a test result has been added now. Earlier it was blank. Now if you click here, you can see status is passed, and this is the test description that we have added. So how it is coming and what exactly is this pm.test, what is this pm.response, let me show you. So if you come down to their official documentation, they have mentioned here that you can use pm.response object to collect all the information from the response, right? pm.response, here pm means postman, so you will see pm.test, pm.response everywhere. So pm.response will have the complete information about the response, and based on your requirement you can play with the other attributes, okay? And you can define your test using pm.test function with a proper name, okay? So this is a function and this is the name. So you can change this. Right now it is status code is 200. I can change it like verify status code should be 200, okay? Now when I send this request again, and this time you can see it has been changed. Earlier it was the default one, now I have added status code should be 200. So this is the positive scenario. What if I change this to, let's say, 404, but ideally the actual is 200, so definitely it should fail. The moment I click on send, and you can see it failed, and now it is giving you assertion error that expected response code was 404 but we got 200, right, as you can see here. So definitely it should fail, and it got failed. So this is how this test works. So this is the basic test that you need to add in each and every, I would say, request that you're making. But let me also show you a couple of other snippets that you have to use frequently along with your status code. So if you come down here, you can see another method or another code snippet, the response time. Sometimes we need to also validate that response time should not be more than 1 minute or 1 second, or it can be 500 millisecond, right? So here you can see again they have used the same thing, only thing they have changed is the response time. So pm.response is same, okay, you can see here, right? Now they are also capturing the response time, and we are also checking it should be below 200, okay? If it is above 200 it will fail. So let me run this, and it got passed again, okay? So you can see it is less than 200 millisecond it is passed. What if I make it, let's say, 1 millisecond? Will it work or not? Let's see. Okay, and you can see it failed, and that is how somewhat this value is not realistic, because we are expecting the API response within 1 millisecond, which is impossible, right? So it is taking actually 66 millisecond. So what we are doing now, we are actually giving one which is not realistic value. So let me put minimum 200 and it should pass. Now you must be wondering what is pm.expect, right? Because we saw what is pm.response, we are able to see here also, but what is this pm.expect? Okay, so if you come down here, you can see Postman guys have mentioned you can also use chai JavaScript BDD syntax, okay, in your assertion. So pm.expect, which we are using, it is actually coming from chai, okay? So chai is an assertion library for JavaScript, and you can use this in Postman as well, okay? So they have a couple of chain that you can use, and these are the frequently used example, okay? So we are using the same here. Now let me also show you another snippet which is very frequently used, which is we need to capture the JSON, okay, and also we need to verify. Okay, so now in order to showcase this, let me show you the response first of all, which we are getting from this API. So this API which I'm hitting, right, I'm actually capturing a user detail and I'm getting all this user details. So I'm getting this ID, I'm getting email, first name, last name, and if you see here, I'm actually using a dummy JSON. So let me copy paste this. Let me show you one interesting thing. Just a second. I will say JSON evaluator, or let me put JSON viewer. Okay, so I will put my JSON here, and that moment I click on viewer, so you can see right now I have a complete JSON, and you can see within the data I have the data, right? I have 5 records as of now. So this is a data, and within this data I have 5 nested arrays, right? I have one record, second, third, and so on. Similarly, I also have another record. So let's say if I want to validate within the data, okay, and the first array email should be jaws dot some @ some domain.in. I want to validate, or let's say I want to validate the first name should be George or the last name should be this. So in that case, if I want to write the expression, how can I do that? So let me go back to this. Okay, and you can see what it is doing. It is actually capturing the response in a JSON format. It is storing in a variable called JSON data. Okay, now what we are checking, we are saying within this, see the value, and it should be 100, right? So if I come down here and if I try to see, if I want to verify, the total should be 12, or let's say total pages should be 2. So if I just write JSON data dot total underscore pages, total underscore pages, it should be equal to 2. Okay, and the test name I will write total number of pages. Okay, now let me run this, and you can see all the tests got passed, because now we are able to see total number of pages is 2. Perfect. If I go with other options, like say per page, I will get the value. But what if I need to go inside this data and then I have to go inside this arrays, right? So in that case, first of all, I have to restill data, right? So in that case, I will just copy paste the same function, and I will copy paste here, and I will just say verify email, just as some random name I'm giving. So instead of going to total pages, first of all I have to go till data. So I will write data, right? Now within the data I have to navigate to the first array, which is 0. So I will say bracket 0. Now within this data, or 0, I have to validate the first name. So I will say dot first name, first underscore name, fine, and it should be equal to George. So I will just copy, yeah, I will hit the request again, and you can see we got total 4 result, and it is working as expected, right? So many things we can do at this level, guys. I'm just showing you a couple of things. We have so many test snippet here, and if you want to explore more about the different test script they have, you just click on this icon called learn about test script. It will open the complete documentation in a new window, and you can see number of examples they are given. Okay, so I would highly recommend you to watch and check their official documentation. They have written, you know, in detail each and everything. And apart from this, let me also add one test in each and every request, and I will show you in the test runner. Okay, so I will put the basic one, test status code. So here we are expecting, yeah, 201. So I will make it 201 here, because it's a post call. It will make a request every time to the server, so it should be 201. Same thing I will do for delete user. For delete user, right now this user, when we delete, right, it is giving 204. Right now this user does not exist, so it says 204. Okay, so I can add a content or a snippet here called 204. So we are expecting 204. Okay, let's fail one test at least, right? So that we'll see the pass and fail both. Yeah, so this is what we have done. Let me close everything, close all the tab. It is this particular request was not saved, so click on save changes. Now let's run this collection, and this time, since we have added test for each and every request, you will see the test result will not be blank. So just come down here and click run my collection, and here we go. So total number of tests is 6, 5 passed, 1 failed. So the first one is already 4 passed. Second request has only 1 validation, which is also passed. This one got failed, and we are getting proper message, right? So that is the power of test. So right now we are adding test only at the request level, but you can also add the test at collection level as well. So just keep this point in mind. We will be adding test at collection level as well. I hope you like this video. So I will be sharing these links in the description directly. If you want to navigate, if you want to see, feel free to navigate to this documentation. And apart from this, if you want to write your own conditions as well, yes, you can do that. You can play with the JavaScript, and you can play with the JavaScript, and you can add n number of tests, and you can pass the data between different requests as well. Okay, today in this tutorial I will be talking about what is environment and how we can use this environment in our Postman. Okay, so let's get started with what exactly we are going to cover in this video. So this is one of the most important topic in Postman. Okay, and environment is the basic thing that you should know in order to continue with your Postman. Okay, so we'll talk about what exactly is environment in Postman, why we need it actually, why we are doing all this, and finally how we can use this environment variables in Postman. Okay, so as the name suggests, environment. So we'll talk about environment in real time, but for the time being, technical definition is it's just a key value pair, or I will say set of variables that we are going to use for our request. Okay, so let's say we are making multiple requests. In each and every request we are using the base URL, right? So now during this environment, or in this environment, we can set couple of key value pairs that we can use. Okay, so we can also have multiple environment, depends on our requirement. So let's say I have 3 different environments. So let's say developer or dev, QA, and prod. Okay, so I can have multiple environments, and I can have multiple key value pairs in each environment, and I can use it. So when you talk about what is the need of it, so let's take very basic example that let me show you this Postman. So we created this particular collection, right, in our previous tutorials. So in each request, if you notice, this is my get request, this is my post request, and this is my delete request. And guys, if you're completely new to this channel, if you haven't followed this series, then we have already discussed about this. So I will just use the same for the references. In case if you are new, please go ahead and watch my previous videos as well. So if you see in the get user, I have this particular base URL, right? Now if I just open this create user, still I have the same, and I also have the same URL for delete user. So let's assume this URL is getting changed now, right? So what I have to do, I have to update each and every request. So I have to update 3 requests now. So right now it's only 3, so I can easily go ahead and update. But what if I have 50? What if I have 100 requests? What if I have 250 requests? And if my base URL is getting changed, I have to update each and every request. That will be a very tedious task, and it is not a best practice to go ahead and modify these URLs or these base URL manually, right? We need some kind of mechanism where if something getting changed, let's say base URL, I will simply go ahead and update at one place, and it should be reflected in each and every request. This is what we will be doing now. So in this case, let's say if I'm a developer, let's say I have created, let's say 50 requests, or let's say 10 requests for the time being. I've created a collection, I have used an environment, and I have only given my URL, base URL, and remaining endpoints are same. So when I have to run the same APIs, in a prod environment, right, then definitely I will be having a different system URL or the different base URL. In that case, what I will do, I will simply change the environment. Environment will be, shared between all the requests. So with one environment change, all the requests will get updated, in simple words. Okay, so let me show you this part. So come back to the Postman, and as of now on the right hand side you can see I have no environment. Okay, so before we move ahead, let me show you the official documentation as well. So this is the official documentation. Just go back to Learning Center of Postman and you will read everything about the Postman environment. Okay, so basic usage, the main usage is when you have different kind of environment, let's say production, development and QA environment, you just need to maintain the standard set of key value pairs in the environment, so that in case you are changing from one environment to another environment, you don't need to change all the requests. Just go back to environments, make certain changes, and it will be reflected in all the requests that you are making. Okay, so let me show you how step by step. So first of all, you can see I have no environment because this is fresh workspace, so I have not created any environment as of now. And you can see a small gear icon where I can manage all the environment, and you can also see a quick click. The moment I click here, you can see I have two things. First of all, I have the environment variables. Second thing, I have the global variables. So now they both are actually nothing but a key or set of variables. If you see, environment is also set of variables, global variables are also set of variables. But what is the difference? We'll see in the next video. But as of now, we are focusing only on the collection. We are focusing only on the environment part. So I can edit the environment from here, but as of now we don't have any environment. Okay, so let's focus on the first environment. In the next video we'll talk about the global variables. Very interesting concept, but with a minor difference. So let's click on this gear icon, and you can see here I can create environments and I can create global variables as well. So let's click on add. In case if you have any environment already, then you can directly import. Right now we don't have any environment as such, so I'm going to click on add, and you can see now I have environment name. So let me give a QA, and this QA environment I will put a variable called, let's say, base URL. This is what we are going to do. Let's keep a URL directly. Okay, so this URL variable I will be using within my request. Now you will see two options here. One is called initial value and another called current value. So there's a small change. The current value, if you see, this will be used and it will never be synced with your Postman servers. And this initial value, this will be shared within your team. Okay, in case if you're working with a team. So right now we are not having any team as such in this series right now. Once we move forward, I will tell you the difference. So just make sure you use initial values when these values are shared within your team. Okay, so as of now we don't have any team, so I will put this current URL. So just let me copy the current URL. Okay, so this is what I want to make a common between all the requests, right? Because if you see, the endpoint is different. For this endpoint is API user page 1. For create user I have a different endpoint, and delete user, you can see I have a different endpoint. But one thing which is common between all the requests is the URL, right? So I'm going to create an environment, same thing, QA. I will put a URL and I will put the current value. So when you put current value, automatically this value will be copied to initial value. In case if you don't want to maintain it, you can just keep only current value. This you can keep as blank. Automatically it will be considered. Just click on add. So you can see right now I have QA environment, and you can also see I can download this environment, I can create copy, and I can share this environment as well. Okay, so now let's say I want to create one more environment. So one option which we discussed just now, I can go ahead and create a new environment, or I can just create a copy of this. So you can see QA copy. I will go ahead and click on this. I will make this as a prod. Okay, and here you can see the values are gone when we are copying. So let me put some different URL and I will put some prod. Definitely this is not the valid values. Just to show you this, I'm making these changes so that you can understand the difference when I will switch environments. Okay, so I will simply update. So now I have two environments, and now let me show you how to use it. So first of all, select the particular request, and now you just go ahead and you will see the environments that we have created. Let me select the queue environment because here we have the valid URL. Now this value we have already mentioned in our environment, right? So I will just remove this part and I will say curly braces, okay, 2 times. I will just use the variables which I have used, URL, and close. So you can see it is highlighted. When I put mouse over, so this is the good thing about Postman, it will show you the current value. Initial value we have not given, so it's blank. Current value and what is the scope. So as of now, this variable having the scope till environment, but once we talk about the global variables, you will see this scope will change. As of now we have only one scope, that is environment, but once you talk about global variables, you will see the scope value will change. For the time being, just stick to environment. So what I will do, I will go ahead and make these changes in all the requests. Okay, so curly braces, URL, and you can see it's updated. Perfect. Now let me also change here. So just delete till here, again use the same variable. Fine. Now let's make a request just to see, and you can see we are actually getting the value. So if you see this test result, this was this actually is failing because of the response time. Okay, so what I can do, I can make it 500. Now if you just hit this request, you can see we got the 4 test results are passed, and these values are getting updated. Perfect. Now let me do a small change. What if I put URL 1? Okay, so what you can see, first of all, it is trying to understand what is this URL 1. So when it is not able to understand, it will show you that this variable is not defined in the active collection, environment, or global. So it is actually searching in collection first of all, then environment, and last at global. So we'll talk about the scope. So it is actually trying to search in all the scopes. Okay, so in case it is coming in red color, then it means it's not valid. If it is coming into green, it means it's a valid variable. And now you can see E means environment. Clear? Now let me do one thing, let me change it to prod. So now if you just see, can you see the updated value? It's prod 1, sorry, request prod.in, and all the requests that we have updated, you will see the updated values, right? So this is the must feature that you should have. So definitely you need to have environments, otherwise maintenance of the request will be very tough. Even a small changes in the base URL can create a lot of maintenance. You need to go and update, but that is the power of environment. Just change this which environment you want and maintain your key value pairs, and it will be updated. And in case if you want to just quickly change it, let's say I'm selected this prod environment. The moment I click on this I option, I can directly see the values which I have. So in case if I have to update, I can go ahead and update from here. That's all. So now if you come down here, can you see new value got updated? So that's a quick feature that I wanted to discuss about the Postman, that when you work in real time, you will get this environment, and whenever you need to make any changes, go ahead and make the changes directly from here. Okay, and in case if you want to manage direct collections, environments, you can manage from here. Perfect. Today in this video, we are mainly going to talk about the global variables. So in the last video, we already discussed about what is environment, how to use environment, why we need it, right? But now when you click here, you can also see one global variable concept. So what is this global variables, when to use, how to use, we will see this. Again, this is very frequently asked interview question. So in case if you haven't seen my environment video, then I would highly recommend you that watch my environment video where we discussed about what is environment. Then only you can understand the difference. Okay, so now if you can see it, this is also a global variables, also set of variables. So what is the difference between environment and global variables? So in order to explain this, let me open first of all these 3 requests. Okay, let's take the first request. Right now I have this URL variable which is already defined in the environment scope, as you can see, right? So now what if I select no environment? So as you can see, now it is showing unresolved variable because now it is not able to understand what is URL, because the reason we have selected no environment, right? The moment I click on send, and if you come down here, you can see it is not able to understand and it says invalid request. Now here comes the main part. The moment you click here, you can see we also have a global variable. So what is global variable now? As the name says, globally. Now it is not dependent on any environment. It will be available for all the requests. Okay, so now here comes the two concepts. One is called local scope. So the variables that you will define within an environment will be known as local variables for the time being, and the values or the key value pairs which you will mention within the globals will be known as the global variables. So they will be available for all the environments, and local variables will be only available for the environment. For example, if I create one global variable, so just click on this icon, click on edit, and let me select one, let's say keep URL, and maybe I will just copy this URL first of all. Just a second, guys. Okay, not this one. Let me select QA. Yeah, this is the base URL. Okay, and this I want to make as a global variable. So I will go here, click on edit, and I will keep URL, mention here, and that's all. Now you will see the moment I put mouse over, okay, let me save this and let me select no environment. The moment I put mouse over, now it is not giving unresolved because it is taking from the global variable. As you can see, the symbol is G, means global, and you can see the scope as well as a global. So it means when it is not able to find within the environment, definitely it will check for the global variables. Just keep this point in the mind, guys. If it is no environment, it will take search for global. If it is present, it will take it. Now here comes the main deal. So before we do that, let me just make it QA. Okay, so now can you see I also have the same variable in environment, same variable I have taken as a global. Now the question comes, which will be taking or which will have the more preferences. So as you can see, Postman has by default striken out this global variable value. The reason is Postman also or always give the higher preference to the local variable. So as you can see, environment is giving more preference, so it will always take, if you have the same key. If it is different, definitely there is no mismatch and it will take based on the key value. But if you have the same variable name in the environment and in the global, it will always take the preference for the environment, which is nothing but the local variable. Okay, so in this case it will work fine because it will take the URL from the environment variable, and you can see scope as environment. Now if I select no environment, this time same URL is present in the global variable and it will continue, right? So now the question comes, like, shall we go with local variables, or which is nothing but environment variables, or shall we go with global? So guys, if you have few variables or few key value pairs which is not dependent on any environment, keep as a global variable. But if you have such key value pairs which can change or which will differ between the environments, you can maintain within the environment. So it is same similar to what we have done in the programming languages, right? We have local variable, global variable, same concept will be applicable here. Okay, so I hope this is clear. If yes, then fine. If no, then let me know your questions in the comment section. Let me just give you one last point, a quick overview. Local scope or local variable, so this will be within environment. Okay, so global scope, this global scope will be without or independent of environment. So whether you select no environment or any other environment, this scope will be for all the requests. Last point, if you have the same variable name within global and environment, then preference will always go for local, or I will say environment variables. That's very straightforward. I hope this is clear. If it's still not clear, let me know your thought in the comment section. I will definitely try to make another video on this, because whatever we are doing right now from UI, we can also set the variables, set the environment variables, global variables within the script as well, which we can mention in the test pre-request script, and we can play accordingly. Okay guys, this is a very frequently asked question in the interviews as well, so make sure it is clear to everyone. Today in this video, I will be talking about what is workflow in Postman. Okay, so when you talk about workflow, it sounds a little technical, but when you see the examples, it's really very easy. So before we jump into what exactly is workflow, let me talk about the what is the problem right now, or what is the requirement as of now. Okay, so in this example, this is the collection that I have, and I have 3 requests, right? So I have get, post and delete, and when I run them, you will see they will run in a proper order, or whatever order you have mentioned. So right now they are running in this order, right? So what if I simply drag and drop? Yes, this will change the order, right? So this is what we are doing through Postman, and we are manually changing this order, right? But what if I have such requirement that I want to run a specific request once this particular request is done? For example, once this get request is done, I want to run the delete, and after this delete again I want to run, let's say, post or any other request. So if I don't want to do from collection runner, if I don't want to do, in this case I want to do it through a script, how can I do that? In that case, we need a workflow. Workflow means how the request will propagate, in simple words, right? So 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and so on. So this is nothing but a workflow. So in this case, if I run, it will definitely execute get, post, delete. So let me do one thing, let me run it. So before I run this, let me also create one more request. So I will go ahead and create a request. This request, let's say I am creating update user. Okay, so if I just go to this update user, let me just add anything. Okay, some dummy, because the main reason is just to show you this workflow. So right now I have 4 requests. The moment I run this, and the moment I run collection runner, it will simply run in this order. Okay, so let's run them. Okay, so it says, okay, there's something issue with this environment, so let me change this environment. So this environment thing we discussed already in the previous video, guys. So in case if you haven't seen the previous video, please go ahead and watch that video where we discussed about what is environment and all, right? So let me run this again. Now we have proper valid QA environment, and I'm running this collection. So yes, it is done. It should run in this order: get user, create user, delete user, and update user. Go ahead and yes, okay, it worked expected. And this delete user test is failing, and because of the response time. Okay, this actually we failed forcefully in my previous video, so this is not an issue. Forcefully we have failed it, just to show you. The main intention was just to show the request, and it is happening, right? Get user, create, delete, and update. Now let me do the same thing. Let me change this workflow using script. So let's say this get user, and once this get user is done, I will create a user, then I will update the user, and then I will delete the user. This is the sequence I want. So I don't want delete just after post, I want delete at last. So what I will do, first of all, let me show you the official documentation. So there is actually a inbuilt function in Postman, okay, where you can set the next request. The moment you say postman dot set next request, you just need to mention which request you want to run after this particular script or request, and it will automatically call it. So let me just copy this. Okay, so this is running fine. I want the get user first, then I want the post user. Now after post user, I want update user. So I will go back to test. and we already have one test added in our previous videos. So I will simply copy here and I will mention the request name. What is the request name? It's update user. Make sure guys it is proper, otherwise it will not be able to understand that request which exists or not. So make sure you give the proper name, and it's a case sensitive. Now we are done. So once this post is done, it will do this, and finally let's see how it behaves. You will see a strange behavior now. So let me just run this. Okay, and let me run my collection. Okay, so it actually executed get user, create user, and update user. But hold on, there's a small mismatch. What about the delete user? Why it is not executing the delete user? The reason is, when we started collection, it was on the last, right? So after update user, there's no request, so it is not able to understand what is this delete user, right? So you need to also make sure that when you make this set request, your all the requests are covered, because if it is at last, okay, if you set this next request to last, it will not execute the further ones. So if you just see now, let me just run it again. Okay, just a second. What is coming like this? Okay, let me just select this, click on run. Yeah, so now if you expand this, so we called this get user, then I called post, and then I called delete update user. But after update user, we don't have any request, so it is not able to understand, or it is not able to call this delete user request. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's add one more set next request after update user, so that we can call this as well. So that's actually interesting concept. So again, I will go to this update user, I will go to test, I will simply copy paste, and this time I can say that I want to call delete user. Okay, make sure it is correct, and yes, let's go back, let's run this collection once again, and now we have proper workflow which starts with get user, create user, update user, and finally delete user. And run my collection, and here we go. Okay, so now there's a small, you can see it is going in infinite loop. Okay, so why it is happening, let me show you. So what we did right now, once this is done, again we are calling the delete user, right? After delete user, again the next one is update user. Again update user is calling delete user. So this particular thing is going in a loop. So how we can stop this, we'll see, but let me run this once again and you will see it. Okay, run my collection. Okay, can you see update user, delete user is going in a loop now, because of the order which I showed you, right? So this will be same until we stop this. But what if I want to stop again with a script? I don't want this to go in a loop, right? Because definitely you will get this kind of situation where you can just tell the last request that I don't want to execute further. So in our case, okay, this delete user is coming in a sequence and it is calling this. So what I can do, again I will go here and I can just go back to this, I will copy this, and this time I will set this to null. Okay, it means once this is done, I don't want to run the further, because once the user is deleted, I don't want to go in a loop and I don't want any other request to be made. So now you will see it will just execute once and it will stop. And let me do one thing, let me just actually give the proper response code, so that should not fail, because failure doesn't look good. So I will go back to my collection, run it, and now you will see a proper workflow: get, post, update, and finally delete. After delete user we are saying null, so it will not execute. And here we go. So I hope this workflow concept is clear. Name is little technical, but in real time, if you just try to relate it, when you want a specific request to execute next one is next to one request, you can change the order directly from the script itself. And if you don't want to do from the script, you can anyways drag and drop from here as well. Another important point, it's not mandatory that you maintain this in a test. You can also maintain this in a pre-request script as well. So we haven't discussed this point till now, but yeah, you can add this next request into the pre-request script as well. Today in this lecture, we are going to talk about a very interesting feature again from Postman called debug and logs. So as you have seen in the all the programming languages, all the different tools, we have the debug functionality and we have the logs as well. As we know that debugs and logs are very important for us to identify what went wrong with the API calls. And when we are making calls, if you want to see what data is going, what response is coming, we want to see some variables that we are sending. So everything we can do here now with the help of Postman. Okay, so before we move further, I just want to show you their official documentation. Okay, so I will link this in the description. So whenever you have to make, record anything on the console, you just need to use a small method called log. Okay, it's again JavaScript code, so you just need to write console.log, and whatever statement you want to write or whatever variables you want to see in your debugger or in the console, you can directly use it. Okay, so I will be using this. It's a very small feature, but it's very powerful. So you can actually do the logs for the different informations. So let's say you just want to log few things, you just say console.log. But if you want to categorize these logs, so as we know that we have different levels of logs, so we have around 7 levels of logs, right? So now you can use here console.log, console.info, console.warn, and console.error. So it depends on your JavaScript code that you will write inside the Postman. Okay, let's say you are writing some if else condition in your test, and if something fails, you want to report as error, and something goes success, you can maybe write into the log or the info section. It's up to you how do you want to use it. So as I have given the Postman console logs for the following information. So main thing, let's say you want to see the request that you're sending, right? So what kind of headers you are setting, what kind of variables value that you are setting, and when it comes to the response, okay, you want to see what kind of response is coming. You want to actually expand each and every node that is coming from the server, and you can see what details are useful. Okay, the proxy configuration, certificate, and all the information about the network, okay, which includes the host address, IP address, protocols, everything. It's going to be very easy. You just need to use console.log, console.info, warn, and error, depends on your requirement, and you will get something like this. So let me show you how you can get this. And they have another interesting feature that you can also get developer tool directly from Postman. Okay, and you can just go to the network tab and you can see all the details which is getting passed to the server and the response as well. So let's see what I will do. I will go back to Postman and I will be using one post request. The reason why I'm going to show you post request, because I want to show you how this will, once we create some variables, how this variable will look like in the console window. So again guys, if you have not seen my previous video where we discussed about environment variables, passing variables to the different requests, and adding the test, then I would highly recommend you to watch my previous videos. They're amazing. We have discussed so many things about the Postman till now. I will link each and every video in the description, so in case if you want, please go ahead and watch that. It's absolutely free. Now when you click on Postman, so this is the request that we created, and if you come back to the body section, so this was the payload which I was sending right while making this post request. So let me show you first. So this URL will be replaced with this URL. The moment I click on send request, okay, I'm just sending name and job, and the user is getting created. So it's actually a post call which is creating a user. So when I make these requests, this is getting created. Now I want to see how it is happening in the console window, or what kind of request I'm sending and response I'm getting. So let me open, you can see this option here, Postman console, right? And if you don't want, this is just one direct icon they have given. The moment you click here, it will start the Postman console. you can clear it in case if you have the previous sessions. In case you don't want to go from here, you can also go directly from views and show Postman console. And for all these options, you also have a shortcut. Okay, so if you can remember these shortcuts, it's well and good. Otherwise, you have the direct options. Okay, so this will start your Postman console. In case if you have a huge log, you can search from here. In case if you have different categories of logs available, you can directly filter. As of now, all is blank, so it will not make any sense to select and then select these options. Okay, so what I will do, I will just make few changes in this request, then I will show you. First of all, without making any changes, let me just hit the send button, and you can see it is making a post call. And now one thing, if you notice this URL, okay, here it was URL API user, so it is coming fine, but this value is actually getting replaced by this value which we have written in the environment variable. Can you see this? req.res.in. So first thing that we can easily understand that the variables which you are passing is coming correctly. Now the moment you expand this, you can see now again we have different sections here. So this is the network layer, okay, where you will find all the network related information. And now this is the request header which is getting passed via your request. So it includes so many other details which we have not passed. So this is the internal headers which is Postman sending for you. But in case if you have some custom headers that we will pass definitely in the upcoming videos. So this headers will also include your headers as well. As of now, these are the default headers which is passed by Postman. Now if you expand this body, so this is the body that we are sending to this request, and we are getting the request. It's very interesting, guys. You are able to see each and everything now using this Postman console. Now this is the response header which is coming from the server after processing your request, right? So again, these informations are, some additional information. You might not have your information right now, but once you move forward, let's say you are sending some request, you're expecting a token, you will find all the token values and all the necessary details under response body. So it is just a header. So right now you can see the content type which is expected is JSON, but in response body, whatever response you're expecting, right? So we are expecting this user has to be created, and the main thing I want to capture the user ID. So this is what I need, and this is what it is able to capture. Fine. So this is how internally it is capturing without making any changes in your request. So we are not making changes. It is just we're opening Postman console. We're able to see each and everything. Now, once I clear this, okay, again if you don't clear, you will see all the logs will get appended and you will see a huge log. So just for demo purpose I'm clearing it, but in case if you don't want to clear, it's up to you. Now I want to make few changes, and that changes I want to see in the response, and actually I want to see how it is getting passed to the server. So I'm going to write a small JavaScript code, okay? In case if you're not familiar with JavaScript, that's fine. You can follow this step by step what I'm telling you, and it will be same for you as well. In case if you're interested in JavaScript, maybe you can Google it. Soon I'm coming with JavaScript tutorial, so we will discuss each and everything about JavaScript as well. So as of now, I'm going to declare a small variable, okay? So I'm just going to use var, and I'm going to use a small name variable, and this name I will replace with my name, okay? Let's say Mukesh Postman. Now I want to see, or I want to pass this variable in my body, okay? So you can see the variable name is name. So in the body I cannot directly pass as a name, okay? Why? Because it is just a variable. I need to tell my Postman that we have a name variable that you want to use in the body. So first of all, we cannot directly use it. So we need to set a global variable or an environment variable, then we can use it. Fine. So you can see here, I can see one option called set a global variable. So here I need to set a key, here I need to set the value, and then I can use this global variable anywhere in my request. It can be in body, it can be in header, it can be in any other section. So what is the name? Name is actually the variable value that I want to pass. So I will keep it here. Fine. Now what is the key? Key is up to you. What key you want to use? Make sure it is unique. So I will say, let's say username. So another interesting thing which I want to show you, that the moment you click here, right now you can see I have two global variables. One is URL, one is variable key. This we have discussed in the previous videos, guys. What is global variable, what is environment variable, what is the difference. So again, if you have not seen my videos, I would recommend you to watch that videos. They are very useful for real times as well. So right now, as you can see, I have two variables. The one I'm going to set right now through script is this one, which is username. And I also want to see in my console, so I will say console.log, okay, and in double quotes I will say name, which is going to set is plus operator, and I will simply just try to append this so that I want to see in my debugger as well, okay, in the console log. So this is going to create a variable just like a normal variable in any programming language. I'm just printing it and I'm setting a global variable. Now this I want to use it. So how can I use it? So first of all, what you need to do, you need to say two double curly braces starting and end, and you just need to give that variable name. That's all. Okay. Now let me send this, and let me also, let's send. Okay, something goes wrong. Okay, so you can see it is value is coming, name which is going to set as Mukesh Postman, so this is fine, it is able to capture. Now it should also come in this section. Okay, so let me see what went wrong here, just a second. Okay, so let's go back and see what we have written here. Okay, so the one mistake which we did, the key which we are setting is username, okay, and by mistake I have just added name, so let me make it username. So now this value, it will be replaced with the actual value, and let's click on send once again. Okay, and you can see here the key which we were setting was Mukesh Postman, and this is actually getting replaced here. And now if you want to cross verify, first of all you can see here it is getting updated, right? So username was Mukesh Postman. Earlier it was not there, but the moment we executed the test, it is actually going to set in the global variables, and you will see the values. So now if you come back here, you can see this is the one which we have added in console.log, and it is coming as it is. So this is value which is coming from that var variable. And now as usual, I want to see the response body. So in the response body, now you can see it actually replaced with the global variable. Fine. Now let me also show you one more feature. It's not, I will say, feature, just additional method, the different kind of logs that you can write. As I have shown you in the documentation, you can go with different kind of logs. So we have logs.info, sorry, a console.log, console.info, warn and error. So let me just make it info, let me make it warning, and let me make this as error. And let me just send it once again. Okay, and you can see earlier we get only this because it was just console.log, but now we are going the category that this is the info, this is the warning, and this is the error. Error is something critical, that something is going wrong and we need to fix it. So info and warning is fine, but if it's something coming as error, it means it has to be checked. So once you move forward, you can write complex script, and you can write if else condition, and based on the result you can decide whether it's a log, just a normal log, or it's an error, or warning. That's all. Okay, so I hope it is clear now. This debugging is very important when something goes wrong. So I hope you will like this feature and you will use this feature in your real time. And if you find any difficulty, or if you need any other information on this debugging and the logs, let me know in the comment section, and I will be happy to assist you. Okay, so in the next example video, I will show you how you utilize this pre-script again effectively in different request at the collection level, So I forgot to mention that this pre-request script will always get executed before the actual request. Okay, so before sending this particular body, this pre-request script will get executed so that your data will be ready, and then finally you can consume here and you can continue. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to talk about what is pre-request script in Postman. Okay, so now if you have seen my previous videos, we have already used this test, right? But what about this pre-request script? What does it mean? Because here also we are doing the scripting, right? Here also we are writing everything that we need JavaScript. Then what is the need of pre-request script and why do we need it? Okay, so if you see here, pre-request scripts are written in JavaScript and they are going to run before the request is sent. So the moment you click here, learn more about pre-request script, it will redirect you here. And now, as the name says, it is going to execute before sending your request. So it's a small JavaScript code, or it's a lengthy or complex JavaScript code that you want to write that will do some kind of processing, and it will execute before sending your request, and it will give you the data. So now they have already given the sample usage, example usage when you can use this pre-request script. So it can be like the first one, which is very common, that you want to run some set of requests from a collection and that you want to run them in a sequence before running this particular request, or you want to capture some data from the previous request or from the pre-request that you want to consume it, right? So this is the very basic example and basic usage why we need pre-request script. So I will show you one example which will make everything clear. Okay, and this is what called the chaining part. Okay, so this chaining also I will show you in the next video. Is called Postman chaining or Postman request or API chaining, where one request will process some data, it will set into a variable, and another request will use the same value for the subsequent calls. Okay, so let me show you one interesting PPT. Like, this is what we are doing right now. Okay, so we are sending a request, we are getting a response, and finally we are executing our test script, which is nothing but your test here, right? So this is what the flow is right now: request, response, and the test script, which is nothing but your test. So when you make the changes or when you want to use pre-request script, it will be something like this, and this will be the order. First of all, pre-request script will execute, then your request will get executed, then you will get the response, and finally you can execute your test script that you have right now. So the only change which you will see right now is this part. So before running request, this pre-request script will get executed and you will get the data. Okay, we also have one more use case that I will show you, but let's use this one first so that you will get a clear picture about pre-request script. Now let me just go back here, in the pre-request body, and I'm just making some dummy calls or some basic sysout statement, which is going to do some print statement. That's all. It is just going to print something on the console. So I'm just going to use one variable called name, and I will say Postman tutorials, some random variable I'm using. Okay, and I will be using this in console.log because I want to show you the order how it runs. I will say tutorial details are plus this. I will just print, and maybe I can write one more thing called running pre-request script from request. Okay, and that's all. I will not use this variable here. It is just going to do some sysout here. We don't need this as well. We will use it for some other example. So I'm just saying running pre-request script from the request label. The why I'm writing a request label, because in the next example I will show you the collection label. Okay, now let me just run this. This is the debugger which we have. This we already discussed in the previous video, how to use Postman console. If you're completely new to Postman console, you just need to click on this icon, okay, Postman console, and this Postman console will start. So now let me just send this. Okay, can you see this is the request that we are sending, and before sending this request it is actually making this call, which is nothing but pre-request script. So this makes everything clear that before executing your request it is going to execute pre-request script. Fine, it can be a complex JavaScript code, it can be calling some other API, another runner, it can be anything. Fine. Now if I want to run this particular thing, or let's say I want to set some variable or some headers for each and every request, let's say I want to make the same thing for this as well. So if I make some changes here, it will be different for this particular request. If I want to run some pre-request script for this request, it will be different. So if I have 10 requests that I'm sending, and if I make this pre-request script for each and every request, it will be a tedious task, right? I have to go to each and every request, I have to make the changes here. But let's say I have a set of requests that I want to make sure that all these request has to go through some set of pre-request script. In that case, I will go back to collection. Okay, so this is the collection that we have, right? I will click on this collection, add it, and I will click on pre-request script. Now if you see, this script will execute before sending each and every request in the collection. Okay, so what I will do, again I will write console.log, and I will write running pre-request script from collection. Okay, so not only this pre-request, you can also do so many things. You can also set the authorization from the collection level, test, and the variables as well. As of now, we are focusing on the pre-request script. So when I update this collection, it means within this collection, whatever request I have, for each and every request, that pre-request script will be applicable. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me just clear it out. Fine, let me run this collection and let's see how it goes. So I will selecting QA environment, that's fine, run my collection. And it executed all, right? So now if I see here, so this is coming, which is running pre-request from Postman. This is saying running pre-request from a script, first one. Then for the second one also it is saying running pre-request from Postman, and this is the last one. Okay, so we need to make a small change here, guys. Just one thing. Okay, let's clear it once again. I will show you what went wrong. It's not wrong, it is just we need to see the order. Okay, so now we have get, then we have post, then we have delete, and delete, just need to see after post, did we given any pre-request script? Okay, yes. So see guys, this is what we did in the previous videos. What I was mentioning, that I want to run update user does not exist. So if I just close it and if I just make it delete user, so just after executing this create user, it has to run, and now you will see you will get 3 times pre-request. Okay, so let me just go back, run my collection once again. Fine. Since we have 3 requests, so you can see one time it is coming here, second time it is coming here, and third time it is coming here. It means before running each and every request, it is going to execute the pre-request script from the collection. So executed, this was your request, then again it executed from collection level, it executed your request. Okay, then executed third request, and this is pre-request script from collection. So it is just I'm doing a sysout statement right now, but you can do many things here, like you can set the content type, you can set the header, you can set the cookies, which is same for all the request. Just to make it little simpler, just to make your concept clear, I took the sysout console.log, but it can be anything, depends on your requirement. because concept is more important than the examples. So I hope this is clear for everyone. So the one which you have seen in the last is what we did right now. So we have collection level pre-script, then we have pre-request, then we have request. Okay, and once this is done, it will go back to response. And if you have any collection level test, then yes, definitely collection level test will execute, and finally your particular test script for that particular request will execute. Okay, so if you mention collection level pre-request script will be applicable for each and every script. In the same way, if you mention collection level test, that will be executed for each and every response that you will receive. So very good example for this can be, you want to make sure that each and every request that you are sending, it should be 200 or 201, or it can be any other error code. So you can mention that same thing in the collection level. I hope this is clear now. So in case it is not clear, feel free to ask me in the comment section, or you can mail me at my email, which is mukeshotwani@learn-automation.com. For more details, you can also check out my blog, which is learn-automation.com. Today in this lecture, I will talk about how you can import or how you can execute the curl command in Postman. Right? So you must have seen when you visit so many API documentation, or when you get your official documentation from Swagger, you will be getting one curl command that you have to execute in order to get the request and response, right? So before we move ahead, let me talk about what exactly is curl. I will take one basic example, okay, and then we will use this curl command. Maybe I will take few existing curl commands and I will use it in the Postman. Fine. So now you often say curl, which is, we generally call this as a curl command. So it's a free command line tool. So it actually uses the URL syntax to send the data to server and get the response. Okay, so you can transfer the data to and from the server. So by default it comes in Windows, you don't need to install separately. Okay, I'm using Windows 10. For Windows 10 it comes by default. In case you are not able to recognize these commands, you can download this curl externally and you can use it. So curl or curl, it actually means client URL. Okay, so let me show you how exactly it works. Then I will take few examples of curl and we will import in Postman and we will execute. Okay, so what I will do, I will just open command prompt. Okay, and I will simply type curl. So it says you can use curl --help for more information. Okay, so let's do that. I will just say help, and okay, we have so many parameters that we can pass to the curl and it will do the processing for us, right? So actually it's a huge list. So what I would recommend you to, if you have free time, if you are kind of guy who try to explore so many options, try to read all this documentation. But for this example, I just want to show you how basic commands work so that I can show you in the Postman. So the one example which I want to take, which everybody can relate, is the downloading part, or I will say writing the output to a file. So you can see, right, we have a -o means output. So what it will do, it will write the output to a file. So whatever name you will give, it will write everything in the same file. Fine. So let's do one thing. Let me clear it out. So I will say cls. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's put curl command and let me hit www.google.com and let's see what exactly is going to return. Again, I will do cls. I will do to up arrow. So I will get the previous command. I will say -o means output, and I will give this file name as download google data.txt. Extension is mandatory, guys. The moment I hit enter, okay, it is again printing. Let's see, did we get, okay, it says something else. Remote file name has no length. Okay, just a second. Now let me try once again curl -o, and I will just mention the same. Okay, yeah, let's mention once again www.google.com, and now after -o, it's a small o, guys. Okay, so I want to save to a file, so let me save this file called download Google data, or let's say homepage.txt. Hit enter, and you can see it is giving you the information about the curl output. So it says 100% done, total received, average speed, everything. So let's go back and see this location. So this is the users folder, this is the user folder, and the file name which we gave was download Google homepage.txt, which is here. So now the moment you open this, you will find the same source code, okay, which was coming on the console. Right now it is printing the same, or not printing, it is actually writing on the same file. So what exactly we have did, we actually sent a request, okay, we got the response, we were capturing in a file. I hope this is clear. Now same thing we can do in Postman. So let me show you why do you need it. So I have two APIs right now which I want to show you. So let's say let me show you the COVID API, which everybody can relate because complete world is suffering from COVID-19. So as you can see, we have this get API, right? The moment I hit this API, I should get all the statistics of COVID-19 patient. So right now what they're doing, just simply making a curl, it's a get request, and this is the API endpoint. So if I want to simply call this API, I can copy this, or I can double click and I can say copy. Now the question comes, how do we call this in Postman? Because in Postman we have direct request. So how do we call that? So let's do one thing, let's click on import, and you can see here we can drag and drop Postman data or any of the below formats. So right now Postman supports, these are the formats. So the one which we are going to use is CURL, which is curl. So if you have a file, you can directly drag and drop, or if you have the raw text, which is right now what we have, and you can see right now they already have given, you can paste the raw text in this format. So in case if you don't have any working API which you want to try out, they already have given the set of APIs. So you can see here postman-eco.com they have given. In case if you don't have, you use their existing APIs. This is what they have given in the documentation. So I have just pasted the same. It is just going to get this is the base path, right, and this is going to make a call to this particular endpoint, which is general statistics. Now if you come down here, you will see continue button. The moment you say continue, so it will import everything, and it says format is curl, it is importing as a request, and this is the name. Perfect. Right now you can see I'm not able to change it, but once we import, it is in our local system, we can import it. Sorry, we can change it actually. So click on import, and let's save this. So while saving, it will ask you what should be the request name. I will say the request name should be COVID-19 test, or cases. I just want to see. Now it will again ask you which collection do you want to use. So if you have any other collection, like all these collections, I can do that. Right now I have collection name is my collection, if you see, and I want to save into this. So you can see now this got imported. Now we're good to go. Now you can make any changes into this API, and right now I'm just clicking on send, and you can see it is giving me the response. It is giving me total number of cases, recovery cases, death cases, last update, case with the outcomes, and so many information. Now you can filter it out, depends on what data you want, right? And you can continue. Now this was very plain API where we had not that complicated, I will say, the payload part. So for that I have another example. This example also you can take. This is also dummy site. So whatever changes you will do here, it will remain for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes these data will be vanished, or the database will be flushed. So you can use this for demo purpose, but once you start working in real time, you will get the same scenarios. It is just I'm taking sample APIs. In your case it will be real APIs, but process, everything is same. So another example, if you see, I'm just taking this restful-booker.heroku-app.com. I will link this in the description, or maybe you can just type it. So here it is just a post call. Earlier it was a get call. So here you can see they have given a curl example which I can simply use, and it will generate a token for me. So let's do one thing. Let's copy this, go back to import once again, click on raw text, paste it here, come back, continue. So again, same information, it is asking you confirmation, like confirm your import. This is the name, format, response. Sorry, it is imported as request. Click on import. Now if you notice here that they had one body, right? So if you come down to the body section, automatically Postman will import the body and all the required headers. So if you see the headers also, there was one header called content type. The moment you see here, this content type is already here, right? So now Postman will automatically import and the body part, headers part, and if you have any other authentication parameters, it will import automatically and you can use it, right? So again, I will click on save. I just give some proper name. I will say create token URL or API, right? Click on my collection and this is the ready. Now if I hit enter or send, it is going to generate a token for me. So this is what this API does. The moment you make call to this API, it is going to generate one token for you, okay, with response is 200. Okay, so they're given ABC123. In our case, it is coming this, which is perfectly fine, right? And here they're expecting the response code should be 200. So let's make a test here, and here I will just add one test, that is response code should be 200. So right now if you see, the total number of test result is 0 because earlier we did not had any test, but right now I'm adding one test. So in case if I'm sending once again, I'm getting response, it is validating, and now the test is passed. Today in this lecture I will show you how you can run the Postman collection, or I will say the Postman request using CLI. Okay, so it's going to be very interesting feature and it's going to be super easy because Postman already have provided a very handy way to run your collection using CLI. So we are going to use a Newman. So Newman is nothing but a command line collection runner for Postman. So what exactly it will do, it will allow you to run the test directly from the CLI. Okay, so this definitely it is going to help you when you are running your test in different systems and you don't want Postman API or Postman application to be up and running. You just start your terminal or the CLI and you can directly start executing your Postman collection. So we are going to use Newman, which actually will execute a complete collection that with a simple command. Okay, so without any further delay, let's start, and this is the link that you need to refer. So if you come down here, we just need to install us Newman in our local system, and once it is done, you can start executing. Okay, so before we install this, make sure you have the Node.js installed in your system, right? So if you don't have Node.js, then you can download the Node.js and then you can start with npm. And downloading Node.js is super easy. You just go to Node.js site, just download it and double click install. Automatically it will set the path variable as well. You don't need to set the path variable as well. Okay, it will automatically set. So in case if you want to cross verify, do you have node or not, so just type node space -v and you will see that node version. If it is giving you, it means node is installed, otherwise you need to download the Node.js and install it. Okay, and you can also see npm. So by default when you install node, npm also will come automatically. So in case if you want to cross check, already we have npm installed in our system, and you can see the current version at the time of recording this is 6.14.4 and the node version which I'm using is 12.16.2 at the time of recording this session. So maybe you will have the latest versions or the older version, that's fine. It should work with any version because there's no compatibility which they have mentioned here. So what we need to do, we just need to install this Newman and we are good to go. So just either you can copy paste this command or you just type it. So I will just copy paste. Okay, G means global, Newman is the module that we are installing, so hit enter. I already have in my system, so in case if there are new updates, it will automatically download the updates as well. If there's no updates, it should continue with my older version. Okay, so it will take few seconds. Okay, in the meanwhile I will show you how we can run it. So basically Newman have just one command called run, and you can provide the direct collection which you want to run, and it will automatically run your complete collection. Okay, so if you come down here, you will see they have multiple options apart from the one which we have, like you can directly give the collection and it will start. But in case if you want to see the different options which they have, so you just mention help or just say -h, and it will give you all the options which they have right now. Okay, so let me show you. Yeah, it's already installed. You can see added one package from one contributor, and the latest version is Newman 5.1.0. okay, cool. Now what we need, let me show you. I will type Newman run -h. H means help section. So apart from run, what are the additional options that you can pass? And you can see they have a huge list that you can pass along with your collection file. So don't worry, I will show you these. Exactly, I will not be able to show you each and every option because it's not required and it will take a lot of time. So I will only show you which is required, and maybe you can experiment all the other things from your side as well. Fine. So we need now collection so that I can start showing you how it works. So basically I have this collection. So this is our collection that we are running from this complete series. So it has so many variables, environments, and so many pre-script as well. So if I show you this one, you might get confused. So let me show you the COVID-19 tracker collection that we created earlier. Here actually we have only two APIs. Okay, so the moment I send this request, I'm getting the COVID-19 details, the total number of cases, recovery cases, death cases, and so on. In the same way, I have another API which will give me country specific specifications or the search results. Now I need to run this as a collection, okay, directly from CLI, or I will say using Newman. So what you need to do, you just need to right click on export, and you can say it will ask you in which format you want. So by default, COVID, like this complete collection will be coming as a JSON file, and it is asking us to export in v2.1, which is recommended. So go ahead with that. I have created a separate folder where I can show you from scratch. So this is the folder that so here we are going to store all the JSON file. Okay, so let me give this file name as COVID-19. Save this. Okay, if I come down here, you can see we have this collection file. Okay, so just a small change that we need to do. We need to make this in a JSON format. Yeah, so by default it should come with JSON. For me it was not coming, so I just renamed this file as a JSON file. In your case, if it is coming as JSON file, do not make any changes, continue with that. So if you want to see this file, just open this in a Notepad++ or Notepad or any other editor which you have, and you can see this collection has all the details about my request, right? Now if I want to run this, it's super easy. You just need to open CMD, just type Newman run, drag and drop this JSON file and hit enter. You will see it will start executing all your requests, and you can see right now it executed two requests. One was get request, and this was one assertion. Can you see this plus, not plus, actually it's a write option, which is just for the validation. If validation pass, it will give you this check option, otherwise it will fail. This is another request, and you can see another assertion also passed. So total iteration 1, total 2 requests, total 2 scripts and 2 assertions. Totally you can see the result is okay, green. That's very good. Now let's make few changes so that you can understand how it works in real time. So in my previous videos, I already showed you how to create the environment variables, right? So let's say this URL is getting repeated in almost every request. So that we already discussed that I don't want to hard code this. So what if I make this as an environment variable and then I want to run it? So in that case, what should be the case, right? So let's do one thing. Let's create one environment. This environment I will say, let's say COVID. Okay, and I will say new URL, and I will make this as a current value. Okay, and just save this. And I also want to download this because I am running from CLI, so definitely I need this environment as well as JSON so that I can run it. So just right click, not right click, just click on this and you can see it also got downloaded. So what is here? It's a COVID, and what should be the value? It's a new URL, right? So guys, in case if you're completely new what is collection, how I'm passing all this, I would recommend you to watch my previous videos where we already discussed what is collection, what is environment variables, how to use. So I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just going to replicate the same thing in this. So in case if you haven't watched, I will link all of them in the description. You can go ahead and watch that. Now just to cross check whether it's working fine or not. So yes, it's working, and the moment I put mouse over, you can see it's getting updated. Now here comes the main deal now. If I simply download this collection now, okay, just export, and let's export. Fine. Now let's go back and see here. So this is the new one file. If you can see this was like 1017. This is the latest one. So what if I simply try to execute this file, and let's see how it executes. Okay, so just execute now, and here we go. So you can see now it's actually failing. The reason why it is failing, it is not able to understand the URL. So can you see this? This new URL it is not able to understand. Okay, for second one it is actually we did not save the file, so it's taking the default one. So maybe quickly I will make the changes, save this, and then export. Actually we did not saved, that's the reason it was not coming. So let me save this, let me save this once again. Yeah, so this time both should fail because both the request will not be able to understand what is new URL, what is new URL. So it is failing and it is expected. So here comes the main deal. So we also exported our environment, right? So this was our environment where we actually have the value that we have entered, correct? So this was the environment that we downloaded, but the moment you open this, can you see this value is coming blank? The reason is, now if you go back here, I have only given the current value, I have not given the initial values. So whenever you work with whenever you work with Newman, always make sure when you exporting the collection, you should have values in the initial section as well. When you're working with Postman, current values should work, but when you export, make sure you give the values in the initial value as well. So I'm going to update it. I will download once again, and I will just override. Fine. Now let's come back here and execute once again. But again it will fail because we are not telling that where is my environment variables, right? So just now we exported the new environment variables. So let me quickly check, did we get the latest one? Yes, I hope so. And yes, you can see now the collection that the environment that we exported, right, it has one key called new URL, which is going to replace with this, and enable status equal to true. Perfect. Now it should run. So how do we know which how do we pass it? So one thing that definitely you can refer their official documentation. So if you come down here, they have mentioned it that your collection probably use environment variables, right? So you can just pass -e and give the JSON file, and it will automatically pick the keys that you have mentioned, and it will automatically map and it will execute. That's very easy. So I will just mention -e space, and I will just give the path of this environment. So just drag and drop, not here, just a second. Yeah, right? So Newman run, this is the collection that I want to run, and -e means environment, and this is the environment I want to pass. Now let's execute it, and yeah, we're good to go. So as you can see now, this value is actually getting updated because this time we are passing. So in case if you don't pass, it will fail. Yeah. So it's very easy. This is how you can execute the complete collection with environment, and it should work fine. Now there's another interesting question in interviews as well. What about the global variables? Because environment we have already specified, right? But what about the global variables? See, for global variables, exactly process is same. It is just you need to use -g. You can also export all the global variables as a JSON file, and you just need to specify the path. Okay. So the last thing which I want to mention here, you can also give the iteration count, that how many times you want to run this. Okay. So let's say I will add -n. N means number of times you want to run this. I will make it 2. So right now it has 2 requests, right? But when I make n equal to 2, so number of requests should be double. And right now you can see iteration was 1. This time when I run, iteration should be 2. And you can see all the values have changed now. Number of iteration is 2, request is 4, pre-request is 0 right now, test script 4, and assertion is 4. And if you try to see this, during first iteration it executed this, during second iteration it executed this. So it's very interesting, guys. I would highly recommend you to explore this, because this is how we are going to use with all the CI tools. So in the next example I will show you how you can integrate with Jenkins and how you can take the maximum advantage of Newman. Okay, so they have also given 2 important links which I have opened here. It is exactly the same thing. So whenever you have time, please go with these links. They are very interesting, very important features they have given. Okay, and you can actually do so many things with this Newman. Today in this lecture I will show you how you can generate the HTML report from Postman. So in the last lecture we already discussed, right, how to execute the test from the CLI. So now I'm just going to show you how you can generate the HTML report from Postman. So guys, for this we just need to use a new module called Newman Reporter HTML. So in the last section we already installed the Newman, right, which was actually helping us to run the collection from CLI. So in the same way we are just going to run our collection. It is just we need to mention one more attribute called -r, which is nothing but report, and we just need to mention HTML. It will generate the HTML report for us. So let's go ahead and use the same. So first of all, guys, there's no option to generate HTML report from Postman, so we have to take the help of Newman that we already did in the last video. So in case if you haven't watched that video, I will link in the description. Okay, just go ahead and watch how to use Newman. It's very interesting. So in order to run this, let's say I just want to execute these two and I want the report in HTML format. So I will quickly export this. The moment I export, I will replace with whatever values we have. Now let me first of all clear this. Now let's install this particular module. Okay, so just copy paste. So install -g means global, and module name is Newman Reporter HTML, and you can say the version is 1.0.5. Now we need just one file, okay, which is nothing but which collection that you want to execute. So this is what the collection we have right now. So I will take this one which we exported just now, okay, few seconds back. So I will just use this. First of all, I will say Newman run. Maybe I will clear this. Yeah, Newman run. I will just drag and drop this collection that I want to run. Hyphen, in case if you have any environment variable, global variables, then use -e followed by JSON. If you have global variables, use -g followed by global variables. As of now we don't have in this collection. I will simply say R and HTML. So as per the documentation, we just need to mention hyphen R HTML and hit enter. It should execute our complete collection and it should generate the report. Okay, so right now you can see it's not showing anything on the console, but it should have now HTML files ready. Now how do I find? So it is going to actually put all your report under this directory. Can you see this? C drive users. So I will go back here. I'm already here, guys. So just go to C drives, users, user, and now you have to search for a folder name called Newman. Okay, and you can see we got the report, and the moment you open this report, it's coming properly. Okay, so this is the overall section, guys, which says the collection name, which was COVID-19 tracker, total time exported. Now this is the main details, guys, how many times you executed. So 1 iteration, 2 requests, 2 test script, and 2 assertions. Now it will show you individual report of each and every request that you executed. So we actually had 2 requests. So this was the first request, and it is just giving you the description of that request, what was the URL, total number of past tests, so it was only 1, total status code. Yeah, so same thing for another request, exactly same thing, description, method, total number of pass, fail, and status code. Let me do one more thing. This time I want to run 2 times, so I will say -n, which is number of times. Let me put 3 iterations. Okay, so it will take few seconds, depends on what kind of APIs you are running. And this time we should have a new report, and yes, we have this one now. So you can see now total number of iteration is 3, request is 6, test scripts is 6, assertion 6 because we executed thrice, and these are the requests, right? So it's very easy, and now you can use the same thing in your CLI as well. Today in this lecture, I will be talking about how you can generate very interactive HTML report in Postman. Okay, now you must be wondering why I'm covering this topic again, because the same video I have covered yesterday, and we already discussed how we can generate the HTML report in Postman using Newman, right? Then why I'm covering the same topic? Because now we have one additional report in Postman, okay, which is little interactive as compared to this old report. So we will be using a different report called HTML extra. So that will be little interactive. It will give more information about your collection, about your test, and we'll get more information about the iteration, passed, fail, skip test, and so on. Okay, so before I move to that video or process, I just want to show you how does your or how that report will look like. Okay, so depends on the requirement, you can use either this report which I'm going to cover now, or the one which we already covered here. So in case if you're new to this channel, then hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe to this channel, and I would highly recommend you to watch this series. I have tried to cover almost every single thing from Postman, and couple of more videos are coming on Postman. So this series will definitely help you a lot. Okay, so just search for another report called HTML extra. Okay, just search for Newman HTML extra and you will get their official link. So if you see, it's yeah, so if you see the example, it looks something like this. You can also change the theme, and you can see we have different filters. So I will show you this now, but it's very interactive report, and when it comes to implementation, it's quite easy, just like how we did for the older report. In a similar way, we just need to install this as small package, and you're good to go. Okay, so you just need to install this package and you need to run your collection. Super easy, just 2 clicks and your report will be ready. Okay, so let me show you this. So let me start with CMD, and let me use this command npm install -g for global, and this is the package that you need to install. Okay, so Newman -reporter -HTML extra, hit enter, and it will install this package in your particular local system. Now in case if you don't have Newman, you need to install Newman as well, and in my case I have Newman and I have this HTML extra also installed in this system, so it will not install again. It's already there, so it may simply check, and if some update it will download, otherwise it will say that this module or package is already installed. Okay, so let it install. In the meanwhile, let's quickly go back to our Postman and let's execute, or let's see which collection we want to run. Okay, so in our previous series we already discussed so many collections, so let me just run one collection, because this is going to be same whether you run one collection or multiple collection. Okay, so let me export this collection and we'll see. So just right click, not right, just click on these three dots and you will see one option called export, and now it will ask you which option you want. So let's select the last one, which is recommended. This one is already deprecated, so it will give you this particular collection in a form of JSON file. So let's continue. Now it will ask you the location. So location, I already have one folder called Postman tutorials. In case you don't have, just create a new folder or any other folder and just save this, and it will give you this message, your collection is exported successfully. Let me just check. Yeah, and this is our Postman collection already here. In case if it is not coming as a JSON file for you, don't worry, you can just rename to .json file and it will be ready for you. In case it is coming just like it is coming for me, we are good to go. In case if you want to cross check, just open this, open in a notepad, and you will see how many requests you are running. Okay, what type of request, what kind of headers, and all the details you will get here. Cool. So our collection is ready, and let me quickly check. Yeah, so this is already installed in my system. So the version which I am using at the time of recording is 1.17.3, but in your case, if you are just watching this video at later stage, you might get a different version. That's not an issue, just continue with that. And now when it comes to how do we use it, it's very straightforward. We just need to use one small -r, which is for reporting, and you need to use one keyword called HTML extra. Okay, so let's do that. Let me do CLS. Okay, let me just type newman, which is newman is a module that we installed. Then I need to say run. Then I need to provide the collection which we want to run. In our case, we want to run this collection, right? Finally, I want reporting, so I will put -r, and we need to say HTML extra, right? So r HTML extra. Hit enter. It will take few seconds, depends on what kind of collection you have. For me, it's just 2 requests. It will execute quickly. And right now you can see I'm not getting anything on the console or command prompt, but by default this is our path, right? C drive users user. So let's go to this, yeah, which is already opened here, C users user. Now here you need to search a new folder called newman. In case if you have this, it's fine. If you don't have, it will create a new folder for you called newman. Okay, and this is just now generated a report for us. So just right click, just double click on file and you will get the report. Looks amazing, right? So now if you just click on the dark section, you will see a dark report. This is just 2 theme options they have. You can go with light or dark. I prefer dark. So first section, you can see it's summary. In the summary one, it will show you how many iteration you have, which is 1 iteration in our case. Total number of assertion is 2, 0 failure, 0 scripts, 0 skip test. Then you will get the file information, which is nothing but your collection information. Then you will get some other information like how much time it took, what kind of data it received, average response time, and this is the summary. In summary, it will include request, pre-request, total number of scripts, assertions, and skipped number of test cases. In our case, it was a basic collection, so it just executed 2 requests and 2 assertions. Okay, now if you just come back here, total request, on top you can see we have 1 iteration, right? In case if you have multiple iteration, you will see multiple iteration will be listed here, and for each iteration you can see what request you have sent. Okay, so this is iteration 1 and this was the first request that we made. So it is showing that we are calling this particular URL. This was the method which was get, and response code, total time, and size per second. And very good thing about it, will also show you the headers part. Okay, so these are the headers which is getting from the request, and this is the response headers. So it is giving you information about each and every request that you are sending, and this is your response body. Okay, and you can copy to clipboard and you can continue. Right, so this is just one test or one request. This is another request. So if you just open this part, you will see another API which we called, right? This was for country based, number of iteration was 1, 2 requests is the second request, method was get, total time and all, then request header, response header, and again response body. So it's very informative, and in case if you have multiple iteration, if you remember our previous example, we did 3 iterations, you will get all the 3 iterations. In our case right now we have only 1. Okay, so this is for field test cases. In case if you have, right now we don't have, so it says there's no field test cases, and this is for skipped one. So right now we don't have any skipped test, so it is also blank, right? So again, nothing to code here, it is just you need to use -r with HTML extra. And in case if you have some environment variables which you have already used in your collection, you just need to export that as a collection and you can pass it. That we already covered in this video. Okay, so in case if you want to know how we can run collection with environment, then watch out this video where we already discussed about how to run Postman from command line using Newman. It covers everything. Today in this video we will be talking about how we can execute Postman collection or the Postman request using Jenkins. Okay, so before we start, I would highly recommend you to watch my previous videos where we already discussed about what is Jenkins, how to install Jenkins, okay, and what is the advantages of using Jenkins, why Jenkins called as a CI server. In case you are already familiar, that's fine, you can go ahead with this video. In case if you're new to Jenkins, then you can watch this video. I will put this video in the description. Okay, here I have discussed about how to install Jenkins, everything in Windows. And if you are completely new to Postman, so I have a dedicated playlist on Postman where you will get everything from scratch till the end. Okay, so I hope you are familiar with these two things, which is Jenkins and Postman. So right now we are just going to execute our Postman collection from Jenkins. Okay, so it's going to be very easy. So if you go with Jenkins, or if you go with the Postman documentation, okay, just come down to this section called using Newman CLI, and you can see with the help of Newman we can integrate our test with Jenkins, with Traverse CI, even with Docker as well. So we will be covering all of them. So we already discussed this part in our last video where we executed our collection using Newman command line, right? Now we are going to talk about Jenkins. So what we need to do, it is just once the Jenkins is fully configured, you just need to run the same collection which we are running from CMD. Okay, so let me show you this image. Just open this image in a new tab. So right now, in case if you're working with Mac or Linux, you need to say execute shell. Right now I'm using Windows system, so I have to say execute batch command, and I just need to provide the JSON file which we are running. It's going to be very easy. Just you need to create a job, give this build command, and you're done. So let me show you. So you can go ahead to Jenkins and create a new job. Now we don't need to create Maven project, it is just one freestyle project is enough. So I will say Postman test. Okay, click freestyle, click on OK. It will take few seconds and it will create a project for you. So you just need to go to straightforward to build section, and here you will see we have build steps. Just select Windows batch command and you can just add Newman, run, and that collection. So before you execute this, make sure Newman should be installed in that system where you are running this job. Okay, so right now I don't have any slave, any node connected, so this test definitely will run on my local system, and my local system I already have Newman installed. Okay, so in case if you want to see, the moment I say Newman, you can see it is asking few more options. It means Newman is installed. In case if I want to check, let me see which version of Newman I have. So I have 5.1.0. fine. So I will just come down here, I will say Newman space -run, and now I need to provide the JSON file, which is nothing but our collection that we want to run. So if I show you my Postman, this is the collection that we have created, right? So if I click on export this collection, I already have exported this collection in our previous video, so let me just replace it so that we'll have the latest collection. So this is the one which we exported just now, and if you open this collection, it has all the test information, okay, that we are running, followed by all the assertions and iteration as well. So let me just go back to Jenkins, and now I need to provide the path, right? So I will just come down here, and first of all I need the path, so I will just right click, and I will also press shift from my keyboard, and then I will right click, then I will get this option called copy as path. Okay, now I will go back to Jenkins, and you can see I don't need this double quotes, and now we are good to go. So either you can give 2 forward slash or 1 backward slash, it should be able to pick this and it should run it. Then there's a small thing which you need to keep in mind, that in case if your path has some spaces, okay, try to avoid these spaces, otherwise it might create issue for you. So that's what we need to do. Just click on save and your job is ready. Just click on build now, and you will see it will start building your project. And yeah, here we go. So it was very fast because this collection had only 2 get requests. So one get request was general statistics for coronavirus at including today's date, and the second API which we called had corona cases country wise. Okay, so these are the 2 APIs we called, and you can see both are perfectly fine, and it is able to run my collection or the Postman collection from Jenkins. Quite easy. Now let me also show you another way. So the moment, so right now we clicked on export, we got the JSON file and we executed, right? Now let's say if I click on share collection, and if I get a public link, which is this, right? So if I want to run this collection using this public link, how can I do that? Let's go back to Jenkins once again. So in case if you want, you can create one more test, or you can just go ahead and edit the same job, and you can add one more build step and you can continue. Okay, so let me create one more. So just now we created Postman test, which is this, right? And now let me create one more. So I will go back to Jenkins. I will say Postman test 2 freestyle project. Click on OK, and come back to build section, add build step. Again guys, if you're working on Mac or Linux or Unix, you need to click on shell. Right now I'm working on Windows, I'm just selecting Windows batch command, and then I will mention new man run, and this time I have to simply provide that public link, okay, which is this one. So either you provide the JSON or you provide this shareable link. So now automatically Jenkins will run this Postman collection. Okay, so in this case, let me just build it now. Yeah, and it will be, yeah, it's running fine. Again, with the help of Newman, we are able to run it. So Newman is very powerful when it comes to running the collection, either from CLI or from Jenkins or from Docker, even from any other CI tool as well, right? Now this is what I have. One more interesting thing which I want to show you, like I always recommend whenever you have different categories of test, is always to create a separate view. So you can see right now everything is coming under all view, which I personally don't like. So you can click on this plus option where it will create a view for you, and you can customize this view accordingly. Okay, the moment I click on add option, it will ask me, give me the view name. So here I will say API test, or if you want to be more precise, you can say Postman API test, depends on your requirement. And I will be selecting this as a list view. I want to display all the jobs as a list. Click on OK, and now it will ask you that within this view, what are the jobs you want to show. So I will say I want to select Postman test and Postman test 2 and click on OK. So now you can see there's one separate section got added here called API test, and within this you will get all the jobs that we have configured. And in case if you want to customize this view, you can just click on edit view and you can continue. Okay, right now these are the columns which is coming, which is status, weather, name and last duration, so on. So let's say I don't want this weather. Okay, I can delete this, and I also don't want this favorites option. So these two columns I have deleted. Now let me click on OK. Okay, so right now only you can see the status, name, last column, last failure, and this is build option. So in case if you don't want any other column, you can simply go ahead and customize from there. Today in this video we are going to talk about a very quick issue that people are facing with Jenkins. Okay, so in the last lecture that I published few days back, where I discussed about how to run the test from Postman, how to run the test from Jenkins, okay, using Newman. And now a couple of people are facing few weird issues. Okay, so the one which is very weird issue which people are facing, that they are able to get this console, which is obviously is not in a readable format, right? So you can see the couple of English word which is coming fine, but when it comes to the formatting, right, you can see some special characters are coming. So if I show you my couple of other logs, if you talk about yeah, so you can see the standard report should look like this. Okay, so here you can see have a tabular format, has some special characters and so on, so it looks good. But when you see the recent job which I executed, so people are getting this kind of encoding issue. So this is going to be very quick. You just need to add a small parameter and you can fix this issue within few seconds. Okay, so this is what my Jenkins is up and running. So before I fix this issue, let me run this test again so that you can get the same issue. So I just executed the same job and it is running now, and it executed. So this looks fine. Okay, but when it comes to tabular format, this table is coming in this format. So what you need to do, just first of all stop the Jenkins. So this is my Jenkins up and running. I will press Ctrl C and it should stop. Yeah, now this is the command that we were running to start Jenkins. Now you just need to add a small key and value. So you just need to say -d. Okay, -d and say file dot encoding. Let me just give some space here. So it's file dot encoding equal to UTF, all in capital letters, -8, and there's some additional space. Let me remove it. Yeah, so just say Java space -d file dot encoding equal to UTF -8 space. This is your regular command. Okay, -jar Jenkins var and the port number. The moment you hit enter, it will start the Jenkins, but this time it will start the Jenkins with this UTF-8 file encoding. So it will take few seconds to get started. So in the meanwhile, I will skip this part. As you can see now, it's Jenkins is fully up and running. So now I can go back to Jenkins. Okay, and yeah. So before I execute, let me clarify one thing. If you open the old job, okay, so this is the job which I executed just now. Okay, and okay, it will take some time to load because just now I restarted the Jenkins, right? So it's taking some time to load. Okay, no problem. So let's just launch it again. Yeah, and let me refresh login. So it's selenium _50. Yes, it's logged in. So now let me go back to again API test, which we executed just now, which is this 3 minutes ago, Postman test. And let me open the recent executed job. Still the same, even though I restarted, it is still giving me the old I will say the reporting or the old special character. So again, when you restart the system, these changes will be applicable for the new jobs. Okay, older jobs will still remain same. Okay, so in order to get the correct formatting on the console, again you need to build the job, then these changes will be reflected. Okay, so now I executed the test. It should come in a proper format now. Here we go. Okay, that was very quick solution. So make sure you just include this small property which I added just now, -d file.encoding equal to UTF-8. I will just give you this command in the description, so you don't have to worry about it. Just copy paste and change the port number based on your system port, and you're good to go. Today in this lecture we will be talking about how we can integrate your Postman test with GitHub. Okay, so this is what we have done so far. This was our collection, and if you see right now we have 2 requests and this is our collection, right? So in the last lectures we already exported this collection, and this was our collection, and we were running this collection from our Jenkins job, right? So if you go back here and if you see my Jenkins, what I was doing, I was giving a hard-coded path that go to this directory and run this collection. Okay, that's obviously it's not a good approach, because what if somebody else wants to run this collection? They cannot run, because right now this collection resides on my system. So first of all, we need to make this collection shareable. It means now we need to upload, or you need to push this collection on a GitHub so that all the team members can start using it, and whenever they have to run it, they can just clone from GitHub and they can run. Or in our Jenkins job, we will configure in such a way that whenever somebody wants to run, they simply run the Jenkins job. Jenkins job will automatically get the collection from GitHub and it should run. Okay, so let's make the changes. So we will divide this video into 2 parts. First part, we will see how we can push our collection to the GitHub, and the second part we will integrate Jenkins with GitHub. Okay, it's going to be a very interesting video, plus it's going to be super easy, because in order to integrate with GitHub, you just need to run few commands and you can push on the GitHub, and in Jenkins job you just need to make few changes in the configuration and you can easily execute this. Okay, so step number 1, definitely you need a GitHub account. So in case you don't have GitHub account, you need to sign up for the GitHub and you will get your username password. So please log in with your username password and you will get your home page. Right now I'm on the trending page, but if you go to your home page, you will get your GitHub feed. Okay, so right now these are some repositories which are on trending. I was just looking for some trending GitHub repositories and find couple of very interesting repositories. In case if you are interested, please go ahead and watch the trending repositories right away. Now second thing, you need to create a repository, right? Then only you can push your collection into this repository. So right now I'm going to create under my name or my username, but in case if you have created some organization, within that organization also you can create a repository. For the time being, I'm just creating repository under my user, so I will say this is my Postman repository, or let me make it Postman test scenarios. Okay, I want to make it public. Okay, and let's click on create repository. The moment you click on create repository, it's completely blank now, and you can see now they have given 3 options. First, you can directly start from the command line using this, or you can push from existing repository using command line, or you can directly import the code from another repository. So we are going to follow this one. Clear? So this is our GitHub URL, or I will say repository URL. So I'm just going to clone this, or I will just copy this for the time being, and I will just store this somewhere here. Okay, now we can do the cloning with either HTTPS or using SSH. I would highly recommend, if you just want to give this as a public repository and you just want to give read access, you can go with HTTPS. But whenever you have to do some read write operation, I would highly recommend you to do with SSH options. Okay, I will show you both the ways, but yeah, recommended way is using SSH. So let's do that. This is our collection right away, and we need to push this collection onto this GitHub repository. So we need to follow these steps. Now before we execute this step, definitely you need git, right? Then only you can run all the git commands. So for that, let me just show you. In case if you don't have git, you just need to download a git SCM and you can start using this command. In case if you're completely new to Git, I already have few videos on Git which I will share in the description. Please go ahead and watch that videos that covers basics of Git that we are going to use now. Those who are completely new to Git, don't worry, I will show you how to download and how to install and how to use this command. So quickly go to Google and search for Git SCM. You will get their official homepage, git-scm.com. Yeah, so it will automatically detect your operating system. For me, it's showing Windows as of now. The moment you click on Windows, okay, it will start downloading. And this is just like a normal software. You need to double click and you need to click on next, next, next and install. You don't need to set any path. Automatically Git will take care of how to set the path, how to change the environment variable, everything it will take care, and within few seconds you can start working with Git. Okay, I already have this Git, so I will click on pause or maybe cancel. Yeah, so once Git is installed, you just need to search for Git and you will get these options. Okay, you will get Git bash, Git cmd and Git UI. So right now you can see Git cmd is deprecated, so they highly recommend to use Git bash. Okay, good part about Git is once you install Git, either you can continue with Git bash or you can continue with normal cmd as well. It's up to you. Okay, whether you use Git bash or our normal command prompt, it should work in both the ways. Now apart from this, if you're working on Mac, you can go with the terminal. It works exactly in the same way. Fine. So let's go ahead with any of the terminal. I will continue with this, which looks familiar to everyone. Now let me go back to, let me close this. And guys, those who have not gone through the previous videos, how to set up Jenkins and how we executed the test, this is the video that we discussed already. So in case if you're new to this channel or new to this video, I would highly recommend you to watch this series where we discussed everything about the collection, how to install Jenkins, how we can execute the Postman from Jenkins and everything. So this video is the continuous of this series. I will give this link in the description, so in case if you want to watch the previous videos, feel free to watch. Now let's get back to again Git. First thing that we need to initialize the Git repository. Okay, so I will simply say, okay, first of all we need to go to this particular directory where our collection is present. So I will say cd, and now we are at this particular directory. Now let me run a first command, which is git init. So I will say git init means initialize. The moment you say git init, it will create a empty Git repository into this directory. Okay, so if you go back to that directory, you will see this Git option. Okay, and if you open this, you will find all the Git information. Okay, so once you move forward and you read about the different kind of heads, branching, all things will be created here. Now just a small note here, it's a hidden file. Okay, so in case if you're not able to see this, you can go to view section and make sure you check this option. By default, sometime it is unchecked, so you will not see that git config. Okay, but the moment you click on hidden item, you'll find .git and you will find all the configs. Okay, so I personally uncheck all this so that I can see what hidden files are coming, and so that we can explore more. Okay, make sure you check them. Even if you don't check, it's fine, your program or your Git will work. But yeah, here you can find some additional information. Our repository is initialized. Now they're asking us to add some readme file. We don't need, because we already have our collection, right? So what I will do, I will just type git status just to check that what is the status of untracked file as of now. So you can see right now we have untracked file, which is this one, COVID tracker, which is nothing but our collection. So in order to add, as you can say, they are mentioning that in order to track the changes, you can say git add to track. Let's go ahead and do git add and star. If you want to give a specific file name, okay, in our case this is COVID-19 tracker, but in case if you want to add multiple files, you can give star and hit enter. It will track all the files. Now if you want to cross check, just type again git status, and right now you can see this particular file has been tracked. Now what about next? Next is simply git and finally add the origin. and finally push. Okay, so let's do the commit. So I will say git commit -m means message, and what should be a message? I will say this is my first collection. Hit enter, and you can see the commit is done. Again put git status. Okay, since it's already committed, it says nothing to commit, working tree clean. Okay, now finally we need to add the origin, right? And this is what we need to add. So this is our GitHub repository, right? So we are simply saying add origin, this, hit enter, and in case if you want to see whether it's got added or not, just type get remote, and you can see this origin has been added. Now we're good to go. Finally we need to say git push -u origin master. And so by default, when we don't create any branch, so by default the branch name is master branch. In case if you have multiple branches, you can change the branch name. Right now it's a blank repository, so we have only one branch called master branch, so we are pushing this collection to the master branch. Okay, the moment you say hit enter, it will push this collection to the GitHub. And you can say when you're doing this first time, since we have cloned using HTTPS, okay, so if you just see here, this is HTTPS, so it is asking me username password. I will quickly enter my username, and click on login. Come back here, and it should push my changes, and yes, you can see it says new branch master, and it has pushed all our collection. So if I go back to this, you can see our collection is ready here. That was super easy, just few commands, and definitely you will get these commands when you create a new repository. For the safer side, I will also give you these commands in the description of this video so that you can directly copy paste. Okay, now let's say you want to run this collection from Jenkins. Now how we can do, just click on code. Anyways, we have used this HTTPS, right? Click on this, go to your Jenkins. This was our job. So what I will do, I will create a copy, okay, so that at least we will have two jobs. I will say Postman test, and I will say this is GitHub HTTP, because next we will do with SSH. Okay, so Postman test GitHub HTTP, and I will copy this from this job. And if you don't want to copy, that's fine, you just click on OK. Okay, something is wrong. Let's create a new one. We'll say Postman test GitHub HTTP. Click on freestyle, click on OK. Yeah, yes, so come down here, select the Git, and here you can give the repository. So this is the repository URL. I just copy pasted here, and now you can see this is my credential. Okay, so let's use without credential, okay, because for cloning we don't need any credentials. Yeah, definitely when you push you need a credentials, so for cloning you don't need. So it is going to clone this particular repository, and the moment I come down here and if I say Windows batch command, I will say newman run, and by default we will get this collection into my current working directory, or where this particular repository will be cloned. So I just need to look for this particular collection, right? So I will only say newman run and this collection. Click on save and click on build now. Okay, so let's wait. So first it is cloning. Yeah, I guess cloning is almost done. So now it is running our collection, and here we go. Now this Jenkins job is not dependent on any particular location. It is directly fetching from GitHub and it is running our collection, right? Now if you want to see where it is downloading, so you can see right now it is going actually to this particular folder. Okay, if you want to see, just go to this folder and you will see where Jenkins job is downloading my collection. So by default, all the jobs that we have created, right, it goes to Jenkins workspace. So this is the job that we created now. So if you just open this, here we have the collection. So when I say that I'm running Newman run, so it runs into this particular directory, and in this directory we already have this collection, so it simply runs. Okay, that is the power of this Jenkins. It simply clones everything into the same directory. We are running this command and we are able to run it. Perfect. Now the next part is using SSH. Now I can do the same thing from SSH in the same repository, but yeah, on the safer side, let me do from the fresh repository, okay, so that you can understand the clear difference. So again, I will go back, I will create a new repository this time, and again I will say Postman APIs. Okay, click on new repository, and this time I will click on SSH. Okay, so let's clone this, copy this, and I will just store it here. And we already used this command prompt, right? Now let's use git bash, so that we'll cover both. Now guys, there's a small change that you need to do when you go with SSH. Okay, so first of all, you need to create a SSH key, and that SSH key you need to add into your GitHub account. Then only this connection will be established. So if you remember, just now we pushed using HTTPS, right? So it was asking username, password. So every time I don't want to pass username, password, so I just want to push my code directly from my system without entering my username, password again. So you just need to set up a connection from your local system to the GitHub using SSH key. It's going to be very super easy. You just need to execute one command, public private key will be created. You need to just copy paste this public key from your local system to GitHub. Okay, so what is the command? In case if you're completely new to SSH key, if you don't have SSH key at all, this is going to be from the scratch, so don't worry. So how to create SSH key? Just type SSH hyphen keygen. Okay, hit enter. So it is going to create a public and private key pair for you. So it is going to save in this particular file. Okay, C drive users folder, again user.ssh file, which is mainly for SSH. All the public and private key will be stored into this directory. Okay, so hit enter. Now it is asking for the passphrase. Okay, don't give anything. If you want to have passphrase, you can give. I don't prefer. Hit enter. Again it is asking, hit enter, and you can see it created public key and private key for you in the same working repository. Okay, so you can find all the keys, that public and private key, into this folder. So let's go ahead and check. Yeah, this is our users folder, and if you see, just now this got created, and now we have public key and private key. So the moment you open public key, you will get something related SSH hyphen RSA. Okay, and this is the complete public key. What you need to do, just copy this and switch back to GitHub. Go to your profile, go to your setting, and here you will find one option called SSH and GPG key. So you can see I have multiple keys added, and it will also show you the one which you have used last time. So I am using this key currently. Now I have deleted that just to show you. So I have a fresh key now. Okay, so I will click on new SSH key, and you can see generally key begins with SSH RSA, SSH ED. The one which we have is SSH RSA. Just copy paste here. Title I can say Postman key. Click on add SSH key. Okay, it is asking for the password again. Just quickly enter the password, and yeah, this is it. Right now it says never used, because yeah, just now we created, we will be using it now. Then you will see it will change, and all these keys are inactive now. If I want, I can delete them. Only the one which is currently getting used was this, but now this will also get deactivated, and I will be using this SSH key. Okay, Perfect. Let's come back here. As usual, I will be doing the same thing. I will go back to our repository, which is Postman API. Yeah. First of all, just to show you, just a second. Yes, this was our earlier repository, right? Now let me create a fresh folder so that I can show you again from the scratch. So I will copy this collection. I will create a new folder and I will say Postman Git repo. And I will paste it here. So that new settings that I am going to do, I will be doing into this repository, into this folder. So I will just copy this. I will go to git bash. And now first of all, we need to switch back to the directory, right? So I will say cd and I will just paste it. Now here, when you're working with git bash, make sure you give /. Okay, so let's give /. Okay, so now you can see right now we are in the same directory. Okay, so we are under desktop under this repository. Now first thing that you need to do, again as usual, first of all we need initialize the git repository. The moment you say git init, you will see that git init is done and we got .git files. Okay, so these are the files already available in our directory. Now the next thing that you need to do, you need to just add the file, commit the changes, add the remote, and finally push the changes. So same thing what we did just now. First of all, I will git add star. Right now we have only one file, so if you want to see, just say git status. This file is that we need to add. This is untracked file. So I will say git add, just type co and tab. It will show you all the files. Right now we have only one file. Hit enter. Again cross check using git status and you can see earlier it was in red color, it means it was untracked. Now this is tracked file and it got added to the index. Now we need to say commit. So I will say git commit -m and I will say changes via SSH double quotes, hit enter, and finally you can see this is the commit message that we added. One file changed and this is the file that we have committed. Perfect. So we just need to copy it properly and just right click, paste, and you can see it says git remote add origin and this is our GitHub repository. Okay, hit enter and it has already added the remote. Now finally just say push. So git push -u origin master. So already we copied, so I will just paste it. Okay, so now this is only one thing, or I will say the one time activity. It says the authenticity of this host, okay, which is github.com, cannot be established. Do you so this is the RSA key that we have added, right? It's simply asking, do you want to connect? Simply say yes. Okay, so now what it will do, if you just try to read this, it says permanently added github.com to the list of known host. Okay, so one thing that you need to notice here, earlier we had only these two files, right? Now we have one known host file as well, and it has added this particular host, which is github.com, to the known host. It means now whenever you will make any changes from this system to github.com, it will easily accept without any issue. Okay, you make any changes now, it will never ask you username, password. You don't need to play with SSH key. It is one time activity. Since it is added on the known host, you can keep changing or you can keep pushing the changes from this system. Perfect. If you want to cross check, this was our GitHub repository, right? Just refresh it, and this time if I go back to my settings, go to SSH and JPG key, and can you see now this key is also active now. This was inactive when we saw last time, and right now it added on this state and this is active. Perfect. Now in order to make the changes here, same thing, let me clone this job, not clone, I will just say copy. and this time I will say I want to copy from this, and new job should be SSH. Okay, this is the copy feature from Jenkins, that you don't need to write everything from scratch. You just say copy from the previous job, it will copy everything. Okay, this will be same, right, because this is the same collection that we are running. Now instead of using HTTPS, now you can give SSH. Okay, so click on code, copy this SSH, mention it here. Again, for credentials you don't need to worry, because this Jenkins will run this collection or run this job in my system. It will clone in my system, and since I already have SSH keys, in case if I want to make any changes directly from Jenkins as well, I can do that. Since for cloning we don't need any credentials, you can continue. Okay, and click on save, click on build now, and you will see it will start executing. So it has cloned everything, it is running now, same Newman, and yes, perfectly fine. So you can see how easy it is to integrate your Postman collection on GitHub, and how you can integrate with Jenkins. Super easy. It is just you need to understand few commands. These commands are already available when you create a blank repository. Today in this video we are going to talk about, again, a very frequently asked question: should we use Postman or should we use some predefined libraries? Like in Java we have rest assured, we also have karate, we have catalan, or any other library that you want to use with your programming language. Let's say if you're working with Python, then you have a request module, right? And if you go with JavaScript background, again we have a different library. So the now question is, should we use only Postman or should we use all these libraries that is available? So now let me talk about some of the, I will say, pros and cons. Okay, then you will get to know that why we should go for this, or to be more precise, I will say when to go for Postman and when to go with these libraries which is available in the market. So now if you have been using Postman, then you must be familiar with the Postman UI, right? So Postman is quite easy to use. It's like a tool that is available that you need to install, just like an exe file. So it's very easy to use. Okay, you will get a proper UI where you will get drop downs like which kind of method you want to call, get, post, put, pat, delete. You can simply put the URL, you can give a payload, authentications, all the header informations you can simply directly fill, and you can start doing the API testing, right? It's quite easy to use. Even a fresher or even a non-technical guy can start using Postman, right? And if you also see, Postman have very good features, like you can store all these your key value pairs in an environment. You can have multiple environments, and you can run them as a collection as well, right? You can also create some sort of dependency between the test. You can also have some test. All these features are completely fine, okay? But what if you have to do end-to-end testing? Okay, then here comes the main part. Okay, so let's say you have one application which includes some sort of web automation, then API automation, then again you have to test some DB connections, you need to verify, and finally your test will be completed, right? In that case, Postman will not be that useful for you, right? Because Postman has a different, it's a different tool, right? You will have all the APIs in terms of collection that you need to run separately. So if you still want to do it, like you have to use some kind of CI tool, or you have to use some kind of different tools which will integrate all your tests, right? First it will run your web test, then it will run your Postman collection, then it will go with the further database related testing, and then you will be getting your final result. But Postman have some, I will say, restrictions. Okay, so let me point out that. But again, this is my observation. If you have a different observations, or if you have different opinion, I'm just sharing my experience. So in case if you have felt the same, let me know in the comment section. But if you have different opinion, that also completely fine. Still let me know in the comment section. Now I'm not sure whether you know about this, but Postman have two versions. Okay, one is paid and one is community. The one which you have seen so far, it's community one, right? All the features are free. But when you go for a enterprise, or when you say a large number of tests, then the Postman also have the different pricings, right? So if you go to their homepage, they have listed all the pricings. So if I'm not wrong, they have free, team, business, and enterprise. So they have different pricings for different requirement. Now let me talk about something related to what I have observed so far. There's no framework support, right? So basically in Postman you can create multiple requests, environments, collection, and they're done. But there's no framework, right? What if I have to create some sort of utility that is not supported? So basically I want to say the code duplication, right? So let's say I want to reuse something that is not possible as of now. Now if you talk about the reporting, so definitely we have a new man, right? So that will give you the HTML report, and you can use something called extra reporter in Postman, which will give you again a very good report. But what if I want to use some extend report, a lure report, or some other report which we have developed that's not supported as of now? It can be done, but you have to do a lot of workaround for that, right? Now again, one more scenario. Let's say you have a complete test suite. Okay, some data is coming from the web that you want to consume in your API, and once you're done, the same response you validate in the DB. Now when it comes to this part, Postman will not be the good fit for you, because when you go with these libraries, let's say REST Assured or any other libraries, you have end-to-end control for that. So you can get the request, get the response. You can use this response for any other integration, or if you want to validate against DB, you can do that. That's not available right now with Postman. Now when we work with end-to-end automation, then we have the different type of data, right? So sometimes we have Excel file, CSV file, JSON file, XML file. But right now if you have used Postman, then we have something called data variables, right? So you can basically take the data from CSV format or in the JSON format and you can use it. But what if you have the different format? In that case, REST Assured or other libraries will be the perfect fit. Now most important part in automation is like parallel execution, right? So let's say if you have hundreds of API, let's say thousands of API, and what if you want to test them in parallel mode? So again, when you go with REST Assured or these libraries, you can achieve parallel mode easily. But when it comes to Postman, we don't have much support of parallel execution, right? So you will see some, if you have a bigger test suite, it will take longer time as compared to these libraries. So based on these points, you have to decide when to go for Postman and when to go for REST Assured. Again, a very important point which I have noticed, like Postman uses JavaScript, right? So let's say your team is well versed with Java, or maybe they are very good in Python, and if you want to play with Postman, then you need only JavaScript. So if your team is not comfortable with JavaScript, then yes, it will be a little challenge for few other resources. First they have to learn JavaScript and then they can customize. So I'm not saying that they have to be expert in JavaScript, but yes, if they have to write certain assertions, then it would be good if they know certain some concepts of JavaScript, so that they can verify the responses in a more better way. So what's the conclusion now? See guys, there's no conclusion as such. You have to see what kind of project you have. So in simple word, if you have a small project or medium project, even for the larger project, if you have independent APIs, okay, and you don't want to achieve parallel execution, you don't have a larger payload, plus you don't have any third verification, you can go with Postman. But if you have to do end-to-end testing and you need to play with the responses, you want to pass the responses to different APIs, different I will say web test, or you want to validate against the DB, go with these libraries. Again, this is just my points, but you need to decide which tool will be perfect for you. So that's all from my side guys. In case you want to add any point, feel free to add in the comment section, and in case if you're new to this channel, then make sure you subscribe this channel, share with your friends, and I will see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.